see the final score, we track the revenue stream. Welcome to the show that treats the sports world like the multi-billion-dollar business it is. We dissect the ownership deals, the television right battles, the NIL impact, and the media figures driving the entire narrative. From Wall Street to the locker room, we follow the money and the people who control the message. Welcome to Press Row, the business of sports, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your hosts, Callan McClurg and Nick Morgasen. All right, hello again, my friends. Happy Wednesday, and welcome into an action-packed episode of Press Row as the fire is already burning hot on this Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. He, of course, is Nick Morgasen. I'm Callan McClurg joining you today. As always, we are back for another 3-hour extravaganza across the sports business and media realms, including massive breaking news we're going to get to right at the top of the show here in just a few moments, though. But with that in mind, though, Mr. Morgasen, I hope you're ready to have your head explode today when we talk about a few things on this program today.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a show, to say the least. And I think you started on it last night on Callan's Cranium, which, by the way, incredible episode last night. You really got to the point quickly and efficiently. And it showed because a lot of people tuned in to watch the show. But before we get to all that, make sure you follow us on social media at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and I think we're going to get to TikTok in September. I think that's
Once
that's
we pass
the goal.
3,000 hours.
Once we get past 3,000 hours, which, by the way, we're 10 hours away officially from 3,000 watch hours. Before we do that, follow the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Network, and check out everything that we are doing on there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, and hit the notification bell. Go watch our shows. Go watch this show. Go watch, like I said, Callan's Cranium, or the show I do with Zan, which you helped me with this week, ETB Sports. There's so many shows. We have a UFC 330 pre and post show coming up this weekend, so please check out and do everything. Be good if I open the rundown for the show. That's how much I've been running around like crazy. Here we go. But we, like Callan said, we have a huge show for you today. Breaking news off the top. We're going to talk about the Lakers being sold to Josh Kushner. Yes, that Kushner, if that's what you're wondering. And Bob Iger for a record $12.5 billion. We'll get into the whole ownership spat and everything that is going on there. Also, yes, most of the first hour is going to be the WNBA drama that has unfolded. So we will get into the whole thing. We have plenty of video and plenty of receipts. So, like what I say every time when we have to deal with a situation, Callan, you and I come prepared with receipts.
Always.
So if anyone comes in our chat, I'm going to warn everybody now. If you come into the chat and say, well, you guys are making this up. No. We have every piece of video from Megyn Kelly to Enes Kanter and Royce White. We have all the receipts. So just don't you worry. Also, once we get past all that, we'll drop into some more ESPN cuts and a SI cut, which kind of surprised us before the show, which we'll get into. What else we got on this show planned for today? Magic Johnson talking about his Sparks ownership. We'll talk about that. Stephen A. calls for suspensions for Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer, which I'm not surprised. He should be suspended, or both should be suspended. LSU selling private equity into their revenue shares. Gee, where have we heard that one before? What? We'll talk about Live Golf. There's some news on that. Stephen A. versus Michael Wilbon over what a journalist is. Kurt Herbstreit says the Big Ten is more invested in NIL than the SEC. Hey, D-Mart, take a note of this one, please. I think Kurt Herbstreit knows a thing or two about college football. NBA announces their opening schedule. Callan already knows I didn't like the way they handled it.
And today the NBA Cup came out, and then tomorrow on Thursday the full schedule finally comes out.
So we'll get into the NBA debauchery that's going on, and then we'll finish off with TNT and some other stuff along the way. So let's not waste any more time because we have a lot to get to. Well, I kind of expected that. Okay.
And of course, Nick, that breaking news, though, broke at about 7 a.m. Pacific time with Ramona Shelburne of ESPN breaking the news, Nick, in a stunning transaction finalized early Wednesday morning. The Los Angeles Lakers are being sold again to venture capitalist Josh Kushner and former Disney CEO Bob Iger for a record-shattering $12.5 billion valuation.
With a B.
Both Kushner and Iger were initially positioning for a Las Vegas expansion bid before pivoting aggressively to buy the Lakers from Mark Walter, as Walter had already acquired a controlling stake of the Lakers from the Buss family just last year for a then record valuation of about $10 billion. Walter, who is currently under federal investigation by Manhattan prosecutors and also the SEC over alleged tax fraud in his insurance holdings of Delaware Life and Clear Spring Life, stated that owning the Lakers was one of the great honors of his life. Kushner is 41 years old and from the Thrive Capital Group, who will have to divest his minority share of the Miami Heat. And also Iger, who is 75, who stepped down as the Disney CEO earlier this year, is also controlling owner of the NWSL's Angel City FC club in Los Angeles alongside his wife, Willow Bay. Also, Nick, more importantly, that Laker current cornerstone Luka Doncic took to Twitter, expressing his excitement to meet the new owners and build something special. The sale was approved by the NBA Board of Governors coming up in September at a meeting in New York. So, Nick, does a $12.5 billion transaction for an NBA franchise reset the ceiling for sports team valuations, or does the year-long rapid turnover from the Walter Group to Kushner and Iger signal regulatory and financial stress behind the scenes involving the Lakers and even the NBA?
I don't know how to feel about this. This kind of shocked me at first when I saw the news.
I said the same thing when my group chat was lighting up this morning about this move.
One, I was surprised you were up at 7 a.m. Eastern time. That kind of shocked me.
Oh, you want to know why? It's this thing right here in my lap.
Oh, no, I know. But I'm just...
That's why.
No, but I'm just saying, I was like, wow. Even him getting up for that news kind of shocked me. But looking at this, there has to be some kind of reason that he's selling so quick. Is it the investigation into the insurance fraud?
I think it is.
Now, we have no idea what the money is. Well, I'm not talking about the ownership. We know the ownership sell, but we don't know what legal battle that he's facing. We have no idea. Could it be more money than what he got for his shares? Now, another distinction we need to point out, the $12.5 billion is not the entire team.
It is only the shares that Mark Walter bought from the Buss family last year.
So even though he was the majority owner, the Buss family still has whatever, I don't know how much they own, like 20 or I think 15 or 20%.
I think they had the minimum, I think, to keep Jeannie as the Board of Governors rep for the team.
I think it's like 15%.
Yes.
I think. But the other thing that we're not pointing out either is that Iger and Kushner were involved in the Vegas expansion situation.
And we both kind of thought, Nick, that they were like going to be in the top part of the pecking order. I mean, we still think Bill Foley will ultimately win out, even with the Colangelo Vinny Del Negro bid that apparently has like $8 billion. I just saw on Twitter, though, Nick, that they're talking about Vegas and Seattle might rake in between $15 to $16 billion in expansion fees alone. So right here, Nick, is like almost, I think, though, showing about how basketball franchise valuations have now, in a way, jumped over the last several years.
How do you make money at that valuation, though?
I know, right?
There is no way to make money at a valuation of 15 or 16 billion, if that's what they're talking about with for the potential of the Vegas franchise. Because what do they say? You have to make 2 or 3 times value what you buy. So you're telling me at 15 or 16 billion dollars of potential value, that means you have to somehow figure out how to bring in 32 billion on top of what you're buying for.
And I wonder, Nick, and this has been my long-standing argument, is that, will Vegas actually get behind an NBA franchise? Not like how the Golden Knights exploded onto the scene, 10 years ago.
You're talking about the whole touristy
Yeah.
aspect of Vegas, and that's a big problem with teams in Vegas. I think it's even a problem still with the Golden Knights because even though they won a title, right? If I'm not mistaken.
2023.
Okay. So did that help them? Sure. It cemented them into Vegas now that they won a title there. But if you had to put an estimated percentage on fans that show up to any Vegas team, what do you think the percentage of fans is that are actual fans?
Oh, and this is not even my hockey bias, but having gone to T-Mobile for 2 games, it is heavy much Vegas fans that go. Very seldom do you see visiting fans there. Not like when I went to see the Aces play Minnesota, which was back, I think, in 2019, before I went to Minneapolis for the All-Star game. There were a lot of Minnesota fans at Mandalay Bay when they were playing at Michelob Ultra Arena. I think that was Kelsey Plum's second year in the league, I want to say. They still had K-Mac and Carolyn Swords and KP, obviously. But the game was at 4 p.m, Nick, at Mandalay Bay, but there were a shitload of Minnesota fans walking to the casino. So I think that there's certain teams that I think have the tourist problem in a way. But with the Golden Knights, though, Nick, it's nowhere near that. You might see some spattering of visiting fans, but it is full-fledged VGK across that arena in the 2 games I've gone to.
I just think you run into a tourist problem when you put anything in Vegas.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what they're going to have to figure out. I just don't know if the return on investment is there for the money that's being spent. Now, for the Lakers, the $12.5 billion. Can we look up what Mark Walters' controlling share was? Because that's the number I'm more interested in. But I'm trying to look it up myself. But I'm just curious to know what his
majority control is all it says.
I have it here. It says Walter previously held a controlling majority stake after buying a 27% minority stake in 21. So he's probably got to own somewhere over 50%, somewhere in that range.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. This is just I don't think it's a good look for the Lakers, in my opinion. Yeah, Walter bought them how long ago?
But not barely a year ago, I think they were saying.
Well, he had a minority stake back in 21.
Yeah.
But he only became a majority owner, a couple of months ago?
Yep.
It makes me think something fishy is up. It does.
Yeah, and I think, Nick, I actually, just sent you a tweet, I think, from a Twitter user that reads in part from a account by the name of Real Dan Weiner. Now, again, we don't really know what this is, but I think, though, Nick, that this is where I was coming from, though, earlier before we came on the air. The tweet reads, "I'm no investigative reporter, but Mark Walter being invested for fraud over $16 billion in loan deals and then selling the Lakers 14 months after buying them would seem to indicate he is in deep shit."
Well, yeah, why would you sell unless you need the money, right? I mean, it's publicly clear that there was an insurance fraud situation
which documented, I think, last week on the show.
And if he has to pay the lawyer fees, that's one thing he's got to deal with.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how that affects everything else that he's doing, whatever he owns in his empire, but
well, that would include the PWHL, the Sparks, and the Dodgers.
Well, he's not selling the Dodgers. Dodgers are a gold mine right now. But the Lakers would be too. So I'm surprised. If he's selling the Lakers, what's next? Is he going to sell the Dodgers if he needs the money?
Maybe he'll sell the Sparks.
I forgot he had the Sparks too, and that's the whole Magic Johnson thing,
which we'll talk about later in the show. Yeah,
but I don't know, man. It's a weird spot to be in when it comes to the. I never thought I'd see the Lakers be sold after they were just bought in a
Yeah,
sense.
and there's those franchises like the Yankees, for example, and the Lakers, Nick, that you never would think would be sold from these families who have done, wonders for their marketplaces. When Steinbrenner, I'm sure, bought the Yankees back in the '80s. If they turned them back into being a World Series winner year after year after year, and you had the '90s era team. Then you had the Lakers, of course, get bought by Dr. Buss, and all they did was win, 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 no matter what. They built the form. They launched the first regional sports network for TV on Prime Sports. They invested their money in a lot of fringe sports like roller hockey and tennis and pro wrestling and indoor soccer. And they made the NBA kind of be what it is, Nick, with, the in-game atmosphere of the cheerleaders, the courtside seats, the band and the organ. That all that was a Jerry Buss staple back in the day. And that they had the Lakers, they owned the Kings, they had the Forum, and then they eventually moved the Staples Center, and they still won championships before they sold off the team, or they sold off the Kings, I should say, in the '90s, and that led to them getting Gretzky in their first run to the Cup final in '93. So, it's weird, I think, when you see a family, Nick, like these two teams, mainly with the Lakers, now being sold now twice in a 14-month span, and that there is definitely something that's going up Schitt's Creek without a paddle right now with that franchise.
Yeah, there's something fishy going on. Mark Walters is a snake oil salesman a little bit, in my opinion, where he's just looking to make deals. And sometimes when you run into billionaires, they will find any way to break the rules as long as they're not caught. They'll push the line until they get caught for insurance fraud, or they get caught for insider trading.
And I was going to tell you, Nick, too, that you remember the small market episode edition about the small market edition episode I did about the Padres almost being sold to DC, and how that was a sleazy ordeal with, a very much, egotistic millionaire. There weren't billionaires back in the '70s, but C. Arnold Smith, practically bankrupt the Padres. The bank collapsed in the '70s, and he was doing a lot of shady business, though, when it came to business dealings and shell corporations and moving money to shell companies, that the Padres nearly left because he had a $23 million lien put against him by the IRS for tax evasion. And he only served an 8-month prison sentence, still at a low security jail in the county. And nobody in the Padre front office liked him whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This one, I'm going to be curious if news breaks afterwards that we'll find out if the insurance fraud thing is a real thing and it comes out. And if it does, then we'll know why he sold the franchise.
Yeah.
Well, or at least his majority stake. It's not the whole franchise. The Buss family is still involved in the Laker franchise. I don't know. I think they own 15%, which I think is the bare minimum.
It's the minimum for the NBA for ownership. Yeah.
Which I think is smart, by the way, that they want people invested in their teams, not just like it.
Yeah, not just there to collect the paychecks. I agree.
So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. Now, I did some checking. So Bob Iger is no longer a conflict of interest because he's no longer the CEO of Disney.
Right.
I forgot that he stepped down recently because he just said, I'm tired of this crap and I don't want to deal with Disney anymore. I already saved them twice. How many more times do I have to save them?
And we were talking before we came on the air about, living, again, Mr. Disney pass holder here that goes to the parks almost every week when he has time. That I remember the Bob Chapek era for the company, and it was atrocious with what was going on, here in SoCal and even in Florida.
He almost blew up Disney, from a financial standpoint. So what did they do? They basically threw Chapek to the curb at that point, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember I was at my girlfriend's house at the time, and the news came across. Me both jumped for joy because we had just bought in Disney passes, and then he, of course, ended up leaving or resigning his post, though. But, he made the process so hard. Again, I know this is a sports podcast, but again, as I said, though, you can recoup all your losses in churro sales in one day from the Anaheim theme parks if you're Disney. But I remember the whole thing, Nick, when COVID shut down the theme parks out here, that everybody who was a pass holder like me and my parents, we were number 2 on the pecking order for the pass. we couldn't renew our passes because they didn't know how long the park was going to be shut down. When they rolled out the new program, we weren't grandfathered in. We had to start all the way from square one. So I had to go and buy the very cheap SoCal pass for $500. And that was littered with blackout dates. You can only go certain times, but I eventually forked out $1,000 to buy a middle tier pass that I use that will let you go during the summertime, go on weekends and stuff. And that, is ample for me when when I'm not here doing programming. But Bob Chapek wrecked the company though. And that's why Iger had to come back and save the company's bacon.
And made a lot of money too. They
Yes.
paid him like 20-25 million or more as the CEO. And I'm sure Iger has made plenty of money.
Oh yeah. And Josh Giarmo is going to be, and Josh Giarmo, I have faith in him to not do what Chapek did. I think
he ran the parks, right?
Yeah, he was the theme park manager for Anaheim and for Florida.
I guess we'll see how that plays out. But
because all the international parks, just for let people on a secret, all the international parks have their own person that runs Paris,
that's right. Yep.
Hong Kong, Shanghai, Tokyo, you name it. But the ones in the States, though, have one person. That, of course, is Mr. Giarmo.
Yeah. By the way,
we have a follow-up to the story?
No. So Damian Woody has made a response off. He just put it out, so I said we might as well jump to that for a second. Don't you worry, we will get to the WNBA. There will be plenty of time for it. But if you want to jump to that Damian Woody slot, and then we'll come back to some of the other stuff. But Damian Woody dropped a tweet about 20 minutes ago because, of course, who broke the news? Andrew Marchand.
Yeah.
So 15 years at ESPN apparently means nothing, just like Carl Ravage being there for 33 years.
David Lloyd.
I mean, this would shock me, literally shock me. Damian Woody has been a soldier, essentially, for ESPN for 15 years. And again, I want to point out something of symmetry here. Damian Woody was a First Take staple. Do you see a weird trend going on with the layoffs at ESPN? Ryan Clark, Damian Woody,
Cam Newton.
All were staples on First Take. Does Stephen A have not as much power anymore?
Sure seems like it.
So Damian Woody dropped a quote tweet on top of Andrew Marchand's tweet. Still processing it all, but I want to thank all my colleagues at ESPN who made it a joy to talk ball for 15 years. Being a guy who had a serious speech impediment to working on TV was truly one of my proudest accomplishments. Looking forward to what God has in store for me next. That makes me think he didn't know.
Yep.
What the hell, man? Like, what has happened to the ESPN that you and I grew up on?
It's going down the tubes.
This is horrible. Like, David Woody hasn't done anything to anybody. Have you watched Damian Woody before or no?
No. I don't get up to watch First Take.
Well, no, he's not always on First Take, but he was on NFL Live. He was on some other stuff.
Me watching NFL content? Are you kidding me?
You might have seen it in passing when you were on ESPN.
No.
The guy was not a mean guy at all whatsoever.
Was he also a former player?
Yeah, he was on the Jets.
That's probably where I remember him from more than.
He was a really good Jet too. Until
Wait, you guys had good players on the Jets?
Yeah, way back when we won the back-to-back AFC titles in 2010 and 2011. But I don't know, man. This just frustrates me because ESPN is becoming like a shell of its former self.
No, because all they care about is D-Mart's favorite sport of all time.
I don't know, man. But
I mean, they barely give the Little League World Series enough airtime right now with all the tournaments going on.
And Carl Ravage is going to call the Little League World Series, and he's calling a game in New York for Mariners Yankees when they let him go.
Yeah, which is tonight.
Oh, is that game tonight? Okay, I wasn't paying attention.
They actually have a baseball doubleheader tonight.
They do?
Mariners, Yankees, Rangers, Angels.
Ugh, what a terrible second game. Oof.
Exactly.
But all right, we're going to transition. But before we start this topic, I think it would be appropriate to put something on first so people know that we're not BSing around with this topic, right? So, quick little disclaimer, and then we will take you into our next topic. following program of Press Row finds us legally and morally obligated to address the absolute circus surrounding the WNBA before we actually talk about basketball. Please be advised that regarding DiJonai Carrington's hard foul on Sophie Cunningham, physical contact is a legal and expected part of professional sports. And this is a league of elite competitors rather than a polite Sunday tea party. Furthermore, all non-sports media outlets, cultural commentators, and armchair referees who have never watched a quarter of basketball in their lives are instructed to immediately cease overreacting, as hard fouls have existed since the dawn of the sport, and every screen is not a congressional hearing. Special notice is hereby served to Riley Gaines, Sage Steele, Laura Ingraham, Megyn Kelly, and all the other political pundits attempting to monetize the culture wars. Please stick to sports, because your hot takes on the hardwood are less accurate than a Shaq free throw. Accordingly, if these facts offend your delicate sensibilities, please direct all formal grievances, existential complaints, and dramatic letters to the WNBA Commissioner's Office via our official hotline at 1-800-CAFFY-CRIES. Keeping in mind that all incoming transmissions will be automatically routed to a shredder where they will be blissfully ignored by Kathy Engelbert while she counts charter flight revenue. This is entirely a parody and not real, much like the fantasy that sports pundits will ever stop complaining about things they don't understand, after which we will now seize the nonsense, return to actual basketball, and remember why we love the game. Because it is admittedly quite difficult to sink a jump shot when your hands are permanently busy clutching your pearls. You're welcome.
All right, Nick. Maybe I should go put my hockey helmet on for the next about half an hour here. But, of course, Nick, the ongoing fallout regarding the Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham and recent public statements that have been made, though, regarding transgender athletes reached a boiling point, though, on the floor on Sunday, as we already have discussed here on ETB Sports and also Inside the Cranium on Tuesday. That, of course, Nick, was DiJonai Carrington committing the flagrant 2 foul on Cunningham via a hard fast break clothesline, leading to Carrington's eventual ejection in a flagrant 2 foul. But while the game was still in progress, though, Nick, when she got tossed, though, Carrington took to threads and called out white privilege, and then also, again, tagged the Fever account, sparking a extended online back and forth with Speakeasy host and former NFL player Emmanuel Acho over athlete accountability and media coverage. Nick, how, though, does Kathy Engelbert's dumbass navigate physical altercations and raw social media feuds, driving record engagement while simultaneously alienating parts of the mainstream audience?
This is just a horrible situation. The way this is going, how does WNBA live?
WNBA country, let's ride.
I was going to say Kathy's country, let's ride. But how does the WNBA leadership navigate physical altercations and raw social media feuds? How about follow the CBA that the players and the WNBA commissioner's office signed? I would start there first. I mean, DiJonai Carrington broke the rules by going on social media while a game was still in progress, right?
Yes.
So she's got to take one on the head here and say, look, I effed up. I broke the rules. And then it doesn't help when she doubles down afterwards, getting into a fight with Emmanuel Acho, which is basically looking for attention for his own podcast, and saying, you know what? I wasn't saying white privilege to Sophie Cunningham. I was just saying the blah, 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 blah. Who are you fooling, DiJonai? Who are you fooling? You're not fooling anyone. You wrote white privilege. You tagged the Fever account on Threads. Who are you fooling?
What did I say, though, Nick, on Inside the Cranium on Tuesday? That even if the post doesn't happen on social media, this still becomes, right-wing media pundits, feasting on the story.
Right. So the point I was asking you was that, does this blow up and spiral out of control as much as it has if she doesn't make that Threads
I still
post?
think it does.
Because I don't think Fox News CNN, NBC, ABC. I don't know if they jump on it if she doesn't write the white privilege post
No,
as much.
I still think they do because it's like, a poster child for this particular movement on the political aisleway getting hit by a black player during a game over the course of a basketball play. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on?
Right.
I think there would still be an overreaction across the board with the story.
We got a new commenter here. Yeah, it's really hard for a coach to see a flagrant foul that leads to an ejection. We're all good with that explanation. Caitlin and Sophie said so.
Yeah,
What do you
that went to my point though from Cranium on Tuesday that coach tried to address what happened. Now we got to move on.
Right, and we'll play the video for you, so everyone who didn't see it will see it. But you know what? Like, in my opinion, I think that Fox and CNN jumped on the fact that she wrote white privilege in the Threads post.
No, I that part I agree with, but even if that doesn't happen, I still think they do jump on it because it's somebody who again is representing their beliefs and their ideology,
Yes.
on that side of the political spectrum, getting hit during a basketball game by a black player. That's all you have to have happen.
Oh my god. I see what the person wrote down there. But
Good one.
good one. But I don't know. I feel like DiJonai, this is a reputation you told me, right? That she has being a little bit of a dirty player. But you could say the same thing for Sophie. Sophie has a reputation for being a dirty player, but this goes back to what some people said on social media, which annoyed me, that we're saying, oh, well, Sophie deserved it.
Yeah, and that's not right either, which I said on Tuesday on ETB Sports that if you're actually wishing upon injury for a player because of their rhetoric or whatever it is, then that's completely baseless.
I'm sorry. I don't care if you are the most obnoxious athlete of all time. No one deserves to be injured or hurt
Yes.
in their sport. Trust me, we all hate athletes and teams. We would never wish injury upon them. That's an awful way of living life if you're wishing harm on somebody. And the same morons that were preying on Stephanie White to lose her job because of
Which, by the way, I think I heard Nick was actually Fever fans that I think I said on Tuesday were booing her during the course of the game. Like, you only boo your team if they're not playing up to snuff, not because of what they say to the media.
Now, I will say I think she partially misspoke in the moment a little bit when she said, "Oh, what was she?" Now, you said she was defending her partially because she was her coach in Connecticut,
Yes,
right?
for one season.
But it did sound a little bit off base when she was first reacting. Now, I will give her the benefit of the doubt that because everything happened so fast, she was reacting in the moment, but it still didn't sound good the way she made the statement. Now, I agree. We need to get past all this stuff because we're not even talking about basketball anymore. We're talking about political BS or politicking BS in the sport, which is not gaining the proper attention for what's going on the court.
Right.
Olivia Miles having a record-breaking rookie season. Caitlin Clark finally having a really good season after a bad injury last year. We're not talking about Asia Wilson and the Aces, who are probably going to win another title the way this is going.
Possibly.
We're not talking about ball. And again, where does this all start?
Kathy Engelbert.
It goes back to what I said in the disclaimer. Call 1-800-Kathy-CRIES. Because, and by the way, that's a joke. Please don't call that. I said it's a parody at the end. Please don't try to call it. But my point is, Kathy did not do a damn thing to help de-escalate this situation at all.
And when is she ever?
But that's the problem. If we had a commissioner in the W that learned to de-escalate what was going on with this problem, if Kathy had come out and said, hey, DiJonai, you're wrong for what you did after the game, or you're suspended for 5 games and you're going to get a massive fine.
And that, in a way, goes to what I said on Tuesday regarding that DiJonai deserves to be suspended for a handful of games, and there needs to be $1,000+ fine because what again happened? Hard foul, flagrant 2, ejection, break the CBA by going on social media when he got tossed from the game, and then further doubling down on the whole thing after it was all said and done.
And like I said, why would you get into a sparring match with Emmanuel Acho knowing he's looking for attention? Tell me what that accomplishes.
It accomplishes absolutely nothing.
It adds fuel to the fire, if you
Yes.
ask me. Because what is Emmanuel Acho trying to do? Trying to make DiJonai Carrington look worse in the way that she's acting. And then she goes on and talks about her education, and she wasn't even referring to Sophie. Who are you referring to? And then that cryptic, what was it, a tweet you said?
Which I made the mention, Nick, about her writing 823 for the next game that they play. I kind of found that to be a little bit of a small threat.
I mean, I think you're right. I think it's both. I think it's cryptic and it's a threat, the way she wrote it. So, and by the way, you said it well last night. Even though Sophie was the victim in this situation, let's not say that Sophie is perfect angel herself by any means.
None of us are. You aren't. I'm not.
No
Cunningham isn't. Nobody is. And if you think you are, then you're sadly mistaken.
We've all made our mistakes in life, okay? But in this situation, you almost caused her a season-ending injury by mugging her, clotheslining her in the head. You bloodied her mouth. There was blood on her teeth. What else? Like, why hasn't Kathy said anything yet? Saying, where's the suspension? Where?
Yeah, exactly. We're waiting.
I mean, this is horrible. Like, I don't know what Kathy's waiting for. It's almost like, you know what it is? It's probably Kathy waiting for the PR department to make up a statement again. Right?
Gotta be.
Because it's just a weird thing. And I have the Stephanie White statement. We can listen to that.
Yeah, please do.
I did reach out to the person who put the video out. I haven't heard back yet. But let's take a listen to Stephanie White's statement. And I'll warn you in advance, even though our show is not censored.
There is some coarse language.
So just be aware if there are kids listening, there is some language in here. But let's take a listen.
This isn't necessarily for those people that are in this room. This is more for an online community that's trying to create narratives that simply don't exist. Trying to create a fabrication or distortion of who I am, of what I'm about. Our players' success, our players' health and wellness, our players' safety is always a top priority for me. One of the things I pride myself on is my relationships with players. For those who have anything to say about the play in the last game, I didn't see the play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time.
Can we pause for a second?
Go ahead.
So I referred to this though too on Cranium on Tuesday, Nick. Again, with what Coach White is saying about the play involving the left hand the left arm clothesline from DiJonai to Sophie. There now, Nick, has been more videos that have popped up throughout Carrington's WNBA career of her grabbing players by the ponytail or by the jersey and throwing them down the court or throwing elbows, much like we saw Wemby do against Minnesota. So again, this is not strike one against DiJonai Carrington when it's come to her play.
And I think people are not realizing that either, that she is a dirty player. And I like I said before, Sophie is a dirty player too. Like, they're both classified in the same category, but in this situation, people are not reading the full situation.
Let's resume.
I take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back. I ride with them 10 toes down all the time. All the time. They know that. It's a shame that we can't have an opportunity to talk about what great basketball they're playing.
Thank you.
Because they are fucking playing. The reality is, with me, I will always lead with love. I will always lead with grace. I will always lead with humility. And I will always lead with integrity. Doesn't mean I'll always get it right. I'm also human. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, The stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be divided. Every day, these women put their ass on the line. Every day. When they go low, we go high. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. And kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
All right. So here's a few things, because I know you reacted to this last night. You and I have some different thoughts on this. Now, I agree with 95% of everything you said last night. The one thing, and I pointed it out in the comments section when you were doing the show, when I look at the statement and I'm watching the video, the raw emotions are real.
Yes.
1,000%. The statement, on the other hand, I feel like, and where you and I can have an argument on semantics of a PR statement versus what a raw emotional statement is. But you're right. We need to get back to basketball. That's the big thing we got to get back to. Now, I wish that she just walked up there without a paper in her hand and just spoke from the heart rather than with a PR statement, because how many times has that gotten the Fever in trouble this year?
I mean, almost every game day, it feels like.
So my point to you last night was just, I didn't like the fact that she walked up with a piece of paper and that she was reading from it. I wish she just gave her raw emotion, because Stephanie White is good at that, walking up to a microphone and saying how she feels. You've even said that many times.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my only gripe. Otherwise, the raw emotions were sincere. I believe 1,000% they were sincere. Now, the media is going to twist it because that's what they do best.
Of course.
The media has twisted everything in this situation. And we'll play a video from Fox News in a little bit of Laura Ingraham, Sage Steele, and Riley Gaines. Which, by the way, Riley Gaines can go take a hike in the worst way possible, because she thinks that she's helping girls and she's helping the public. I think she's just fear-mongering to some people and just doesn't have people's interests at heart. But what do you make of the pregame rant? I thought I thought for the most part it was sincere.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I said that on Tuesday, that at the end of the day, we've got to get back to worrying about basketball, and that, again, you could say it's PR, it's this or it's that, I mean, even if that's like the starting lineup or something else is on that paper, I don't really know what, I mean, I already made up all my thoughts about all this crap made on Tuesday, regarding this and how strongly I feel, that, they ended up winning the game last night, over a very good New York team yesterday. But again, we're zeroing in on the wrong things and what have you when it's come to this entire ordeal, though. But I mean, at the end of the day, eventually you get to rock bottom and you start losing your patience when you are constantly, though, Nick, getting hounded about things not even, involving basketball. And did I not make the mention, on Tuesday, when I flipped to watch the end of the game on ESPN and the Fever, do their, the buzzer sounds and
they
go
the
to
dance?
the high five. No, they go to the high five line. What is Sophie Cunningham doing? High-fiving every single player on her team, including Callan Clark, where I brought up the point, Nick, that there are teams that probably hated each other's guts. The Bronx Zoo Yankees, the 70s Athletics, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
Right.
You have to, though, again, put aside the differences. And what do you have to do? Work as a team to go and get the, and achieve whatever goals you set out to do. Believe me, I had teammates I didn't like either when I played, youth baseball, high school baseball, or guys I played against. But at the end of the day, you put all that aside for a couple of hours, go out there and work as a team and go out there and win games. That's all I was saying on Tuesday.
No, I agree with you. I think you're 100% right. Like, when you play in a team sport, you have to work through all your differences if you want to win a title or you want to win a championship. if you don't get along with one of your teammates, it's going to affect the whole chemistry in the locker room or in the stadium or in the arena when you're playing games. And I think Sophie's one of the best at putting differences aside with teammates or other people that don't like her, and she just goes out and plays ball. We talked about it last week. She told the media, guys, I made that statement in February. Why are we still talking about it now?
Because people have nothing else better to do nowadays, Nick, than go back and dig through people's, activity on the web, and they find video of Sophie playing high school football.
Well, that's the whole cancel culture theory, where you look for something for 10 years ago. Like,
yeah.
Remember I told you someone resurfaced the DiJonai Carrington video of her talking about her Uber driver or whatever it was, and now that's in the rounds. I don't think that's right, by the way.
And then again, they're also finding old highlights of her, like, attacking players too, much like she did with Cunningham on Sunday.
See, the past is the past, in my opinion. Whatever happens now is what we have evidence for right now. I don't look at 10 years ago. I don't look at that. Now, if there's video evidence, it happened. But you can't use stuff from 10 years ago to make your point for now. It doesn't work that way.
And by the way, real quick, before we move on, Nick, I did say this part on Tuesday. The last part of her press conference, though, I did not approve of that line about that all of us can go to hell. That part I thought that part was wrong. And I also thought the nasty look she gave to the reporter who wanted to ask a question while she was making a statement, those were the only two strikes from my perspective about how she handled that pregame press conference.
Now, I want to get to the Megyn Kelly rant because I thought she, what would you say, went way overboard?
Well, keep that on the down low, Nick, because we are going to move on, though, to stay in the W, though, but, of course, get to the other big firestorm, though, of two former NBA players, including former 10-year veteran Enes Kanter Freedom and, of course, Royce White, who both publicly have declared for next year's league draft on social media in a coordinated media protest against current league gender eligibility rules. But, though, Nick, there has been blowback, though, from two NBA players currently in the league involving Kuzma and Robin Lopez, who pushed back against both Freedom and White, defending the female counterparts and criticizing their stunts as mainly being disrespectful towards the WNBA product. But, Nick, it's simple. At what point, though, do high-profile social media or political stunts, though, demand a corporate statement, though, from the WNBA headquarters, or is ignoring them the best PR strategy? No, it's not. And I know, Nick, that my other big thing, though, that I forgot to mention, though, on Tuesday was that I've long believed that any publicity is good publicity, but not here and not right now.
It goes back to something I said to you when we were prepping this show. In a sick way, does the WNBA like this attention because it's actually putting them out in the limelight and it's getting them attention? And maybe they just don't give a shit anymore that it's bad for them because they want the attention because it's allowing them to grow.
Yeah.
Now, before I give you my opinion on those two, I have the video of Enes Kanter announcing. The reason I bring it up is because, would you say it was a little mocking, in your opinion, a little bit? Or no?
We could call it mocking, cringeworthy, you name it.
So here's the video, and take a listen. This is him declaring in open quotes for the W.
Well, it's official. I just declared for the 2027 WNBA draft in April. Join me in this journey.
Enes Kanter Freedom decided he's going to throw his hat into the WNBA.
The WNBA does not ban men who identify as women right now from playing in the league.
He would dominate the WNBA without batting an eyelash.
The number one prospect in the history of the WNBA.
I have such a problem with this video in a lot of ways. He's making a mockery of the W by making a video like this. Okay. And if the W does not reject this, do you realize how much more mock is going to come out of this?
You know what this whole thing reminds me of, Nick? And I should have said this on Tuesday, but you know what this reminds me of? It's all these social media people and all these, basement-dwelling basketball men like you and me who say, I could go take on a WNBA player one-on-one. And, Nick, how often does that go well for them? Never. Go ask Sarah Ashley Barker of the Portland Fire, who, stonewalled the guy 11-0 in a game, that she answered the call and went out there and took his ass to the woodshed.
I remember that. Yeah. I mean, it's a bad look, man. Like, what is the, unless, because Enes Kanter is what would you say, a political activist really at this point?
Yeah, and I don't applaud what he's doing here, though, but I do applaud him, though, for how he went about his NBA career. I think he defected. I think, Nick, you have to correct me again. I think he defected Turkey.
Yes.
During the height of their civil war, I think, years ago, and came here, became an American citizen again. I think he played 15 years in the NBA, had a great career.
Nice career.
Great career. And obviously, kind of did the Meta World Peace or Lloyd World Be Free thing by adding freedom to his name. So I applauded him for that, though. But this one, I can't applaud him for this. I mean, we're making a mockery now of women's sports, Nick, where I think, though, bravo, Kyle Kuzma, and bravo, Robin Lopez, for sticking up for the WNBA. Because God forbid that the commissioner's office does not do that, at least that there's two guys out there that have the back of these players in this league.
Now, I wouldn't be remiss, since I have the Royce White video too.
Yeah, go ahead.
And in my opinion, I don't know about you, I think this one is worse.
Oh, let's see it.
Now, I don't know if this is the reaction video that he did, or if this is, we'll find out in a second, but this is a video of him talking about declaring.
Oh, earlier this week, I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable, but I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University.
That's in college, you bozo.
What'd you say?
So that's while you were in college. You, sir, played 3 minutes in Sacramento and did zilch, nada, zero. Get out of here.
There's a video, and I'll play this in a second. He's going around now claiming that he was afraid of flying, and that's why his career ended.
Sure, buddy.
Yeah, I don't believe you for a second.
What needs me to do? I'll do whatever the girls need me to do. I think the WNBA could come out and make a definitive statement about guys with a pair of balls playing in the women's association, but hey, that'd be probably too much like right. So, and I don't want to be discriminated against. No, I want fair treatment. I'm a young black, hopefully United States senator that would like a fair chance to participate as a sometimes identifying as a transgender woman athlete.
Okay, I have a massive problem right now. One, he basically gave himself away that he's using this as a political stunt because he said he's running for senator.
Oh, wait, didn't Callan talk about that on Tuesday? That we're trying to score political points for 2028 here? I think he did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you did. But and you and I were on the same page because I was thinking the same thing. This is a political stunt. Okay? Anyone who says this is not a political stunt, you are living under a rock. You really think that the W is going to allow Enes Kanter and Royce White to enter the WNBA draft?
Absolutely not, when there has been no evidence of there being a transgender athlete in this league in 30 years.
And this whole thing, and the other thing that's going to incense me, Kathy Engelbert and the W had to call a meeting to say what a woman is. Are you kidding me?
No, it just shows you that Kathy Engelbert is a weak, gutless individual.
You're telling me you can't tell the difference between what a man is and what a woman is for your own league?
Kathy Engelbert is the weakest, most gutless commissioner in all of pro sports, and I will take that to my grave.
No, I'm with you. You and I are on the same page. I want to see the W do well. I want it to be a good product for basketball, but right now they're making a human mockery out of it.
And as Christy Wilson always says, Nick, that the league always seems to self-sabotage itself, and here we are again.
I mean, and she just said it again. She's a coward.
Yeah, she is.
But what is the gain here besides political points, as you said?
Yeah, there is nothing more than this being a political stunt for these two men, two men trying to enter a women's professional sports league.
And I think it makes them look like assholes, the way that they're acting. And I saw another video.
I would probably say it makes Royce White look worse than Enes Kanter
Yes.
Freedom, because Royce already gave him somebody, like he said, that I'm running for office in Minnesota.
Well, not only that, Enes Kanter didn't come out and say, like, oh, I'm acting as a woman, I'm doing all this
No,
stuff.
I feel like more of Enes is more of just like being a bit of a troll.
He just said,
I don't applaud it, but it's how comparing these two.
right. Yes.
Kanter's doing this for like the social media clout and trolling. Royce White is just doing this to stroke his own ego in his campaign.
Yeah, but if you listen to what Royce White says, he says, like, don't discriminate against me, blah, blah, blah. You don't hear Enes Kanter saying any of that in the video. You could tell that Enes Kanter has a little more media training, a little
and I
more.
think that's because Enes actually had a thriving NBA career, unlike Mr. White, who played 3 minutes in Sacramento in 2013 and didn't score a single basket.
But let me be clear, like you said, they're both wrong in
Yes.
this scenario. But I think Enes Kanter did it in such a way that he won't take as much flack
Right.
as Royce White, because Royce White is talking about, oh, I have a pair of balls and I shouldn't be offended that way, or I'll do everything for the women. Dude, you're acting like in first person, saying you're a woman. You're not a woman. You're not.
Now, all the little stubble bumps along the way to make sure that you got your wording correct doesn't help the cause either.
Correct. And there's another video, and I can't find it, where he puts on a blonde wig, almost like a weave, in a sense, to make him look like a woman. Like he's doing a publicity stunt.
Oh, man, and that went to my point on Cranium on Tuesday involving this whole entire situation.
So they're both wrong. I don't love it at all. But if I had to say who has a better chance of surviving it, Enes Kanter has a better chance of surviving it.
1,000%.
And if I'm the Senate, I forgot where he's running. Is it Connecticut or
I thought he was
Minnesota?
running in Minnesota.
Oh, where Michelle Tafoya just won her seat. If
Yeah,
I'm
but I think Tafoya was running for the Senate, I want to say.
yes, but I'm saying if I'm in Minnesota, why the hell would I vote for this guy considering he's making a public mockery of a women's league?
Yeah, so he is running. Okay. Quick update. Not that we care here. Tafoya won it. Royce White finished in 3rd place.
So this is quite literally a PR stunt.
This is Riley Gaines syndrome, that somebody that I didn't win, so it's this or it's that.
I have to get clout for myself so I
Yeah.
can build myself back up. You know what? And this goes back to what you and I have been saying for months, going all the way back to the CBA lockout situation. The WNBA is a huge laughing stock, not because of the product, not because of the game,
Because they self-sabotage themselves and they shoot themselves in the foot on a daily basis.
because there are really amazing players in the WNBA. Okay? You have Callan Clark, who they could really build upon to build the attention for this league, and that's not what they're doing. Yeah.
Speaking of basketball, Nick, we have a Shams bomb.
Oh, I saw Johnny drop that.
Russell Westbrook has officially retired, for Shams Charania of ESPN.
There was a report that he was possibly going to go play in Israel also.
Shams writes in part, after 18 years, Russell Westbrook has officially retired. A legendary career, NBA's top 75, league MVP in 17, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA team, gold medal winner, and the all-time record holder for triple-doubles, has retired. And we will follow up a bit more regarding the fact if he does, in fact, go overseas. But,
He'll be a Hall of Famer.
All that was missing for him, though, was a ring, Nick. But I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame, though.
Oh, triple-double leaders all time. That'll get him into the Hall of Fame by itself. League MVP, 9-time All-Star, U.S. The Olympic gold doesn't count towards the Hall of Fame, but it's still a nice thing to have. But he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Do you want to go to commercial, or do we want to get to our weekly update first?
Oh, wow. We're already at the end of hour 1. Holy crap, that went fast. All right, do a weekly update first. We'll get a break.
Oh, we're so close to 3,000. I can almost taste it.
And this yellow popsicle stick tastes good. But boy, thank you to everybody who's been pitching in, watching shows, leaving their comments, watching our shows here. We are 10 hours away officially from 3,000 watch hours, which means more projects, more bonus hours, more stuff are coming your way. And eventually we are working towards our goal to 4,000 watch hours for full monetization. So please go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, and help out the cause. All right, what's coming up the rest of this week? So,
I don't know. I think I broke the channel last night, though, with Cranium's watch hours because I was so pissed off at people.
It was a good show last night. Really was. But we're back to normal scheduling. Bandos Breakdowns will be back Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Before that, MTGP with Nick DiMartino and Tom Albano. Johnny's been going through some work scheduling stuff. He's figuring it out, but he should hopefully be back next week.
Yeah, I start back to work tonight, so that'll be fun.
So just make sure you stay. So MTGP at noon Eastern, followed by Bandos Breakdowns at 3 p.m. Eastern, followed by Hitting for the Cycle at 8 p.m. or excuse me, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
They have to somehow talk about the clogged NL wildcard race right now between the Padres, Phillies, and the Diamondbacks. My God.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Does anybody want to make the playoffs?
And that awkward play in the Red Sox Blue Jays game.
Oh, with the scoreboard being wrong when it came to how many outs.
Yeah, it took them 15 minutes to
They
get
had to
the call?
review it, call up to the press box. Like it was a very weird ordeal.
No, they called New York.
Yeah, they had to call New York. Like, what the hell's happening here?
Like, what the hell is going on here? We can't figure out the play. And then they gave.
Hey, for AJ.
And then even though they didn't tag, they gave the what was it? They gave the Blue Jays a run.
Yeah, weird play.
But yeah, check those shows out. Friday, Unnecessary Wagers, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Gridiron Gurus, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That show will be moving back to its normal Sunday on so the first Sunday of the football season is September 13th. So they will move back September 6th, a week before, to kind of get back in the reacclimation phase for a week. And they will end up there, but they have a couple more shows to go this month before that change happens. Saturday, a lot's going on Saturday. So we have the pre-show for UFC 330, Fight IQ Puncher's Chance, Tom Albano back with Zambando for UFC 330. That is Makachev versus Ian Gary for the main event. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been actually watching a lot of UFC as of late, so I think that's going to be a really good card. And then we have Between the Ropes at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday with Christy Wilson, leading up to the AEW show. And then Sunday, Bandos Breakdowns, which again, at the beginning of September, will be officially moving up a half an hour earlier and be an hour from 10:30 to 11:30 Eastern.
Yes, because Mo Charlton's back. Let's go.
Yeah, so you won't be getting Noteworthy in the NCAA, but you'll be getting Will for the second half an hour of the entire show. So he will be on every Sunday with Zan to talk some college football and maybe some other stuff. Like I said, Gurus will be back in their slot at noon. And then we got to the solution for Winners Take Money.
Winners get money, yeah.
Winners get money, sorry. I got to remember that. Winners get money. So James Myers will be joined by Nick DiMartino for Winners Get Money. And they will be taking you through the second window, probably somewhere between an hour and 2 hours in that slot. Doing some live watchings during the second window, some live props, some live bets. And then the ETB Lounge with this guy over here.
When I don't have to work on Sundays.
What?
When I don't have to be at work on Sundays.
It wasn't as bad, though, as you told me, though. I think
There's
it's
a
like
few days in September. There's one more. I think there was 2 in August. There's one more in August, and there's like 2 or 3 in September.
but it wasn't as bad as you thought it was.
Yeah, originally as I thought. Yeah.
So that's from 9 to was that 9 to 11?
Yes.
Yeah. 9 to 11 Eastern. So check that out. That'll be on during Sunday Night Football during the season. I think that'll be great because you could kind of
perfect.
So you'll get winners get money leading you into the second window, and then you can react to the end of the day, including Sunday Night Football on ETB Lounge. So there's
There you
plenty
go.
programming along the way. Obviously, we'll have Forever Power 5 and Forever Power 5 After Hours with Nick DiMartino also on Saturdays. So if you're a big college football nut, you'll get Gridiron Gridlock with Trevor at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then you'll finish off the day with Nick DiMartino, which will lead you into the late night, into Sunday for the NFL programming. So there's plenty to check out. So youtube.com/ETB Network. Like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell, and follow everything we're doing. Whew. Okay.
All right. Let's get back to the programming here. But first, though, whether you're backing traditional Big Ten powerhouses or looking for value out west in the Pac-12, college football season isn't just about who wins; it's about who covers. You want the sharpest news, deep team breakdowns, and the best against the spread angles before you set your Saturday slate. Then you need to be locked into Forever Power 5 on ETB. Join Zan Bando and James Myers every week as these two classic conferences get acquainted. Catch FP5 every Wednesday beginning August 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time, right here on ETB. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel today at youtube.com/ETB Network. Again, that is with James and Zan starting up in a couple of weeks right here on ETB. All righty, Nick, hour 2 here of the program. More WNBA fallout as Bill Simmons has now called out Kathy Engelbert over a lack of player report, and also blasting the league's fragmented distribution across 7 platforms to watch games, much like the NBA. Nick, is Engelbert's multi-platform strategy an unavoidable side effect of piecing together TV revenue, or is this creating fan fatigue like the NBA has with their 7-day national broadcast schedule?
I mean, I've yelled about this forever. If you have too many platforms, you can't keep track of where the games are. And you have to remember, this includes paywall platforms like Amazon and Peacock for NBC or Prime Video. So it depends how you're going to look at it from a standpoint of, are we just talking about TV, non-paywall TV, or paywalls? You have to separate them because they're different forms of watching the game.
Uh-huh.
But I do agree that the broadcast distribution is a pain in the ass. That I have to remember that the WNBA, let's see how many I can do off the top of my head. So ESPN, Prime Video, NBC,
ABC.
ABC, Peacock, I guess technically counts as another. USA, that's part of Versant, I think. Am I missing anything?
I think that's it.
Is that 7?
I counted 6.
Trying to think who we're missing.
ESPN, ABC,
NBC,
Hang
Peacock.
on. ESPN, ABC, NBC, Prime Video, USA. There's 5.
Maybe that counts the streamers also. Oh, Ion. Ion, Christy said. That's right.
Yep, Ion. So that's probably number 7. I agree.
And then also including the streamers too.
Yeah.
So
now, either way, it's like you have to break out the Thomas guide or a map to find out what game is on what platform.
I feel like a Dora the Explorer.
Oh,
I'm the map. I'm the map.
We forgot one, Nick.
What?
CBS.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They're like almost forgotten sometimes. But
I think they pick up like the Saturday morning game out here on the West Coast, like at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. local time out here.
But I feel like I need Dora the Explorer to finally. I'm the map. On the map. On the map. On the map. On the map. Like
I'm the map.
It's like I can't keep track of where these goddamn games are. Like I'm watching ESPN, ABC because I have those on a lot, so I see the games. I'll turn on Prime Video because I have Prime Video.
Yeah,
I have NBC.
But you need Peacock and Prime Video though, because you're a football fan usually.
Well, my parents got it, so I was able to watch it. But yes, there's so many sports now on Prime Video. You almost can't go without Prime Video. Now, Netflix, I could give or take, to be honest with you. Like, we have it, but am I really going to go watch the Field of Dreams game? No, I give two craps. And now they're charging $1,100 a ticket.
We'll talk about that a bit later on. With that, Nick, we'll move on here and stick inside of the WNBA Culture Wars. Finally, though, our last topic about this, though, Nick, involves remarks involving Megyn Kelly and also Colin Cowherd. In the wake of Megyn Kelly calling out both the WNBA and also Caitlin Clark after Megyn Kelly called Clark a coward for declining political commentary, Colin Cowherd attacked Megyn Kelly on the volume late on Sunday night to defend Clark's right to focus purely on sports at this rate. So I think, Nick, we're going to get the video pulled up here revolving around the angle taken here by Megyn Kelly, and probably I would say I'd also love to hear Colin's clap back too. But with that, Nick, let's have a look and listen at this video.
So I'm just going to warn, this is a 15-minute video, so we'll stop a little bit in and out. We'll discuss. I don't know. We might not even watch the whole thing.
Oh, we probably won't. We only got 10 minutes on this topic, so we got to kind of get moving.
So let's take a listen, because she says some pretty absurd things. So let's take a listen.
Check out what happened to Sophie Cunningham. Again, she's on the Indiana Fever, right? Is that what they're called? The Fever, along with Caitlin Clark. And the Fever had a game against the Chicago Sky on Saturday. And look what happened to Sophie Cunningham in that game.
And just getting her
All right, we're going to move along.
By the way, that's ESPN doing the commentary. So that's woke ESPN, who just the other week was telling us to go and listen to what that one WNBA coach said. It was really profound to go listen to her, the one who was like advocating for trans in women's sports. That ESPN looked at that and said, that's definitely going to be upgraded to a flagrant 2 penalty, which is worse than a flagrant 1. And it was, and it meant an automatic ejection for this DiJonai Carrington. For the listening audience, DiJonai Carrington is a Black woman with super blonde, long hair. It's obviously a wig or a weave of some sort. And it's way longer than Sophie Cunningham's.
Okay, hold on. She has no right to insult this league if she can't even get the people right. She doesn't understand the terminology of a flagrant foul. Callan, you're muted.
Couldn't even get the Fever's name right either.
I mean, I'm having an issue already that how can she have any credibility on this topic if she doesn't know? And why are you calling her out for her weave? What does that have to do with this situation?
Political points. Let's continue.
Ugh.
And the Sophie Cunningham, of course, is white. The only one surprised by the decision seemed to be DiJonai Carrington herself.
We're just going to move along, get to the commentary. Yeah.
By the way, I'm really curious. Why can DiJonai get away with wearing that white woman's hair, long blonde straight hair, and it's fine? And
hold on. Why are you making fun of her appearance?
Yeah, that's borderline racist. I hate to say it, but it is.
No, it's not borderline. It is racist. Like, and by the way, this is Megyn Kelly typical reputation here. She's done this before. But come on, man. Like, you're losing the plot, as people would say.
Yet, I can't go to the Bahamas and get my hair in braids or have my daughter get her hair in braids, or we'll be called racists. That's what's been happening for the past 6 years. Google it. Well, so we can't have braids. And in fact, there's a push by some on the woke left. You can't even wear like hoop earrings and do your lip liner.
All right. I'm getting mad right now. What does this have to do with what happened on the court?
Yeah, absolutely nothing. We're talking in circles about things that don't involve the game of basketball again.
It sounds like she has a personal vendetta against the WNBA and against how women apparently wear their hair and earrings and putting on blonde wigs. By the way, isn't she blonde? We're looking at her. Or I don't know. Is that blonde or brunette? I don't
No
know.
idea.
Outside of your lips as a white woman, because that's cultural appropriation of Hispanic women. The braids are cultural appropriation of Black women, but it's fine for DiJonai Carrington to wear her hair straightened, white blonde, and down to her rear end. That's fine. I'm like, somebody help me understand the rules, okay? Because I can't keep up. Is there no white culture to appropriate? Is that really how this works? Or are the rules on the, braids in the Caribbean now off? Can we have the lip liner with the hoop earrings? Where do we go?
Are you going to actually talk basketball here, or are you going to just make this about things that you've seen in your lifetime, woman? Figure it out.
I mean, I've kind of lost the interest of this already, to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to
that, Nick. So we've had Megyn Kelly go around in circles. Now, again, later on in a different video that we have no time for right now, that Kelly also attacked Caitlin Clark for her post-game commentary when asked to weigh in about political issues. And when Clark deferred not to do so, Megyn Kelly called Caitlin Clark a coward. Speaking of coward, Colin Cowherd of FS1 in the Volume had this, in a way, fiery response back to Megyn Kelly on Sunday, revolving around why are we once again asking athletes to make their political beliefs known. Here is what Colin had to say in regards to Megyn Kelly's uncalled for attack on Caitlin Clark on the Volume on Sunday.
I don't know what courage is. Probably firefighters, police officers, the Coast Guard in rough seas. Political commentary in today's landscape is rarely courageous. I do respect people who push back against their own establishment, but in media, rarely are people actually brave. Don't confuse bravery with getting paid. Cable news isn't Omaha Beach. Podcasters don't get Purple Hearts. Megyn Kelly gets paid a lot to talk about big, interesting subjects. Caitlin Clark plays basketball, and Caitlin Clark did not want to feed into Megyn's audience this week, which is fine. Fame isn't a PhD. Athletes are popular. It doesn't make them profound. From an accountant to a surgeon, most professionals are busy, hyper-focused on their craft. And politics is now a full-time profession, not an extracurricular activity. It's a minefield of nuance and complexity, and a minefield Megyn Kelly gets very well paid to walk through daily. But I'm not asking a guard to be up to date on the big, beautiful bill or the latest Supreme Court decision. Not their job. And these days, even if you're politically engaged, you can't win. Political parties dispute election results. Scientists argue with scientists. You can be completely right, you think about something, and half the country thinks you're wrong. So it doesn't even matter whether you're right. Public health officials, election workers, school board members these days get death threats. What basketball player wants any part of that? Part of what makes a great politician is knowing what they don't know. That's also a pretty good quality for human beings. So we've gone from shut up and dribble to you must speak up and dribble. Politics and sports will always mingle, but they're different arenas. Quit trying to drag every big name athlete into your arena. If they want to step into it, fine. And if Caitlin wants to be Bill Bradley someday, great. But she may be more MJ than LeBron, less interested in leading a movement and more interested in leading her league. And that's fine too. And let's be honest, you're not really mad at the answer. You're mad she didn't give you an answer you could use. She did what she does best, pass. Caitlin owes nobody in the media an assist, especially in a game she never asked to play.
So, Nick, this right here made me think back to when the NBA went to the bubble in 2020 and made me think back to the shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Colin came on the air in the herd on FS1 the morning of when the Milwaukee Bucks walked off the court before playing a tune-up game against the Orlando Magic. And that, of course, became a major storyline that the Bucks had walked off the court and nobody knew what the reason was when they found out about the shooting, and that the team had prepared a statement that they read to the media before they went back to the team hotel at Disney World. And, Nick, I have long kept this in my head that Colin opened up his show and said, can we think back to the 1960s? Think back to where this country was, 50, 60 years ago. There's a few names that come to mind, Nick, many of whom were legendary athletes in their own right. That includes one Muhammad Ali. That includes one Jim Brown. That includes one Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a.k.a. Lucinder, and that also includes 11-time NBA champion Bill Russell. What do those four men have in common? They went to a summit in Cleveland, I believe, to protest at the height of the American Civil Rights Movement. More importantly, Nick, you know what else Coward said? Nobody in this country, you, me, the next guy, and my next door neighbors, nobody should be inclined to speak on political issues. Nobody should be inclined to speak on something that they do not feel comfortable talking about. Talk about what you know. Talk about what you're comfortable talking about. That has long been one of the best monologues I've heard Callan give. And again, Nick, what benefit does Caitlin Clark have, Nick, to speak about issues like this? Can we please let these players play basketball and not have them weigh in on stuff happening in the nation's capital with people that have their heads buried up their ass when it comes to bills that are still not been signed and put into law yet about daylight savings time and minimum wage?
So I thought Colin nailed that perfectly, just from the standpoint of, look, just because you're a public figure, aka an athlete, doesn't mean you have to have an opinion on everything that is out there, politically, professionally, entertainment-wise. It doesn't matter. Just because, now, the issue you run into is that you do get a lot of athletes who make their political thoughts known, and I think that's a bad thing because that opens up Pandora's box for a lot of other issues. But as a public figure, you have the right to do what you want. Go ask Sophie Cunningham how that's worked out.
Exactly.
Coward's right. Yes. I think Colin handles the process well from the standpoint of, look, I'm going to talk about what I feel comfortable talking about. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, then don't listen or don't listen to that segment.
And most importantly, Nick, and I made this rant known on Tuesday. Do you people out there think that Nick and I love sitting, in our office spaces every Wednesday for 3 hours talking about Vrabel Rusino, talking about this crap in the WNBA?
No.
No, we don't.
I wrote you I can say it now because you read it on the show. I wrote you a message privately during the show, and I said, hey, just point this out so people understand that when you and I are putting a show together, it's not always the biggest and best things that we want to talk about. The reason we have to discuss Vrabel Rusino is because that's what everyone's talking about in the media space.
Of course.
Or this whole thing with the W. You think we want to insult the heck out of the W and say how bad they are as a league? No, but that's what's going on right now. We're not giving you corporate BS. You say this well on every show you do on Cranium. We're not a sanitized corporate network. Okay? We give you the God honest truth, and we're going to tell you whether we don't agree with something that the leagues are doing. Heck, I think we have a poster that says "Wanted Kathy Engelbert" on our show.
Yeah,
every single day. And what was the joke I made to you? Could you do your show, Callan's Cranium, on an ESPN, a Fox Sports,
Absolutely
a
not.
CBS? And why did I say you couldn't do the show, or why you wouldn't be able to do the show?
Because I'd be told that I can't say certain things or speak my mind.
Right. That doesn't fly here. You say what you think and feel, and we go with it. We run with it. That's why radio is a disaster now. That's why Greg Papa, who's dealing with cancer, is lost his job because the corporate doesn't want to deal with it. We just saw, I can't remember his name, Poland, the guy I told you from DC, who worked in radio, sports radio, for 35 years. He actually helped with WFAN way back when. Got fired because of corporate BS. Because Cumulus is in the toilet.
Big time.
And I would know Cumulus is in the toilet because I worked for Cumulus when I was here in New York. But just because a story is in the news, it does not mean we want to spend 10 million hours talking about it. It's what's in the news. We got to get through it. We move on to the next thing.
which
And
we
that's
are
it.
right now, but it's more WNBA stuff, Nick. But it's more on the ownership side. And I was actually disturbed by this news, though, Nick, that Magic Johnson, longtime Laker great and now mega sports owner, did admit, though, to sources that the ownership group led by him and Mark Walter has turned zero profit across 12 years owning the LA Sparks, despite winning a championship in 2016, despite the rising league valuations and also operating the franchise in LA, and again, winning that last championship in 2016. Nick, when an owner like Magic Johnson, though, does admit to zero profitability over a decade, how does that shape expectations for incoming expansion owners paying top dollar buy-ins for the league as a whole, or even, Nick, if they choose to sell the franchise to a new ownership group?
So when you look at buying ownership, however you do that, whether you're buying now, this is an exclusive club, being able to buy into a sports franchise, regardless of whatever the league is. But say you and I saw a small business and we wanted to go put money in it and invest in it, okay? People need to understand when you invest in a business, you're not going to get profit overnight. It's just not how business works. You have to build it. When you're investing, you're going to end up investing another 3, 4, 5 times on top of it to help it grow. So now 12 years is a long time to not make a dime. Now, Magic Johnson is doing incredibly well for himself. Now, I'm not reaching into his pocket. I'm just pointing out that he's done well investments wise.
Oh, amazing. Ever since he retired, between 24-hour fitnesses, the movie theaters, the Fat Burger restaurants, then owning, various teams across LA and now in DC with the Spirit of the NWSL.
I think he owns gaming teams also. I think he
might.
He invested in one of those
esports.
Esports.
My girlfriend of 3 years, she was a esports gamer back in Dallas, where she's from San Antonio, but the closest team was in Dallas.
He was part of the Dodgers ownership. Or
he is. Yeah, Dodgers. He had the Laker ownership until he sold off that stake years ago.
Is he part of the Josh Harris group?
I believe he is with the Commanders and with the Spirit, yes, in DC.
So the man is doing more than fine.
Amazing.
So now, if this was his only investment, this might be a different issue. If he hadn't been making any money in 12 years. But 12 years is a long time not to make money investing, because apparently he invested $10 million in 2014.
I remember the day, Nick, like it was yesterday. Quick little story here before we move on here to keep the show flowing here as time goes on, is that I remember the day that the news broke that the first group led by Paula Madison was going to sell the franchise. It was the same day that Candace Parker went back to Tennessee to have her number retired by the Lady Vols, I think 2014. So this was before Pat passed away. So Coach was there to see it. But I remember that day happening because I was running my WNBA and Sparks podcast, actually, back at the time I was still in college. And me and my co-host, launched this petition campaign, to keep the team in Los Angeles, which was, very, weird for, before, again, like I said on Tuesday, this was before the league got popular. So for all the newbies watching from this network, again, shut your ass about the WNBA or take a hike, as I said on Tuesday, that we launched this petition campaign that 1,170 people across the whole league signed this thing. And eventually it was gaining more and more, and it gained momentum. I got interviewed by WNBA writers back in DC. I knew a guy named Albert Lee who wrote for the Mystics and the Wizards for SB Nation at the time. We were like in very small town newspapers, like in Altadena and across LA. And, we said, we don't take credit, though. We just want to see a sports team stay put, though, in a league that I think is going on the trajectory, as they were. And I remember and when the team got bought by Magic, I went to their home opener against Phoenix. That was my 20th birthday that me and my dad went. And I had a bunch of people that you were one of the guys that did the whole petition. I said, yeah, I was. My co-host couldn't make it tonight. So because of transportation problems. And like people were like hugging me, wanting pictures with me, like it's like wait, hey, like slow the roll a bit down here. That wasn't the whole point of it. And then to see it get capped off, though, Nick, in 16 when that LA team won that title, I was actually at my brother's house having dinner, and I was actually in the living room like a nervous wreck watching them win Game 5 to win the championship, because I like, if they don't win it now, like, when is Parker ever going to win a title? Like, here's one of the greatest players of all time not having a WNBA championship, and they finally got it done though that season. And I went to the home opener the following season. They all got their rings that night and whatnot. And obviously, I think I made the story, made the mention that Candace's daughter is going to come to UC San Diego next year for volleyball, not the school that I work at. So I look forward to kind of seeing her maybe around USD when they do, in fact, come and play us. But it's weird though, Nick, that you could be in Los Angeles running a franchise with such a great history. Lisa Leslie, Delisha Milton-Jones, Tamika Dixon, Candace Parker, all the way down the line, Nick, playing at Crypto.com Arena, and you don't turn one single dollar in 12 years. That's pretty damn alarming, Nick, especially for, again, like a team like the LA Sparks, who've been so synonymous with the WNBA for 30 years.
You're in a top market. Also.
Yeah, you're in marketplace number 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, let me preface this with, I'm not reaching into his pocket.
Of course.
But if it was his only investment, it would be a different issue. Now,
right.
I'm sure he still has money from when he played and other stuff he's done.
Maybe some left over from the Laker ownership that he had at one point, for all that we know.
And he's also got the other investments. He's in the Guggenheim Group, which...
Dodgers, the Sparks.
I don't see that money going anywhere anytime soon, by the way, with the Dodgers.
No.
Josh Harris is an incredibly smart businessman. His money will be protected there. So I think he's just pointing out that, like, when you invest in something, it's a good lesson.
Always turn up gold.
No, not even that. This is a good lesson that when you invest in something, you and we invest in the stock market, right? I've been doing it since I was, I think, 16 or 17 years old, because my brother works in finance. So he started me early. It takes 7, 8, 9 years more to it took a while. He taught me how to, like, where to put my money, and he said, don't watch it every day, you're going to drive yourself crazy, because I didn't know at first. It's all about long term. Investment is long term, not short term.
All right, Nick, some more basketball here as we continue on here on PR. More importantly, Nick, back to the Aspiration Daktronics scandal. But, Nick, Stephen A. Smith has thrown down the gauntlet about seeing and demanding a 1-year suspension for both embattled Clippers star Kawhi Leonard and Clippers owner Steve Ballmer over the alleged aspiration salary cap circumvention case that it still has not reached its still has not reached the end of the road. Nick, if Adam Silver acts on the aspiration audit, would suspending Ballmer set a dangerous precedent, or is it necessary to preserve cap and game integrity?
So I happen to think Stephen A. Smith is right. Stop the presses. I'm saying Stephen A. Smith is right. We spent a lot of time talking about this on that breaking show, which, by the way, again, thank you to everybody who watched. A lot of positive comments. Not that I'm looking for an ego trip here, but, like, we're one of the very few accounts. Our network is, like, the only one that's really with Pablo. I got to give Pablo deserves A1 credit. He has been on top of his game, and I'm trying with every ounce of my power to find a way to get him on this show, because I think he has angles that most people don't know.
Yeah.
But in this situation, Kawhi needs to be suspended for a year, and Steve Ballmer, I don't think a year suspension is going to matter. He can run his business from not being in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think the biggest fine now, I think we read this a couple of weeks ago, I think it's now $7.5 million.
Yes.
You really think $7.5 million means anything to Steve Ballmer?
No.
He can wipe his ass with $7.5 million. And then you could say, oh, it's dirty. I'll go make $15 million to make up for the $7.5 I had to pay in that fine. We're not going to be satisfied by the result of this at all. And you said it. I've said it. We've all said it here at this network. It's been 13, almost 14 months now since we haven't gotten an answer on the aspiration scandal.
Now we have Daktronics.
Who would have thought, right? Like, that this, well, and by the way, no, it has nothing to do with Dak Prescott, so get that out of your head. Daktronics, by the way, is like one of the biggest scoreboard makers
Yeah.
across professional sports. They made the Halo scoreboard at Intuit Dome, I think, also. Is that true?
Yeah.
So it's kind of odd that all of a sudden they had an endorsement deal of some sort with Kawhi. And the one theory I have, and I can't prove it, it's just a theory. I think Ballmer's involved with Daktronics.
You got to think, right?
Because why all of a sudden would there be a second company that doesn't do sponsorship deals or endorsement deals all of a sudden come out of the woodworks, and we'd find out that they're giving Kawhi money to shelve the salary cap? What?
Hang on a second. Not breaking news. One of my friends is at the Padre game today versus Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He got a picture with AJ Preller today.
Oh my God.
AJ's just walking the concourse like a common man, and he stopped and gave my friend Matt a photo today. How cool is that?
I mean, I guess that means he's a somewhat normal human being. But I don't know. Like, what, in your opinion, what does the punishment have to be for there to be a resemblance of don't do this again?
I think you just have to go back to the Joe Smith ordeal with the Wolves, and I think it's got to be worse than what that was. Massive fine, forfeiture of whatever picks they have left. When it comes to the first round picks, you find the franchise, you suspend the whole front office on the basketball operations side. I think so. The team GM, team president, obviously Ballmer should get a suspension, and Kawhi should not be allowed to sign with the team until the 27-28 season. He should have to be forced out to sit out a full entire season.
Now, let me clarify just so I understand what you're saying. So when you say suspend, like when you say suspend Ballmer, suspend the operations,
they can have
they can't do anything.
Yeah, no contact, no nothing for a full season.
Meaning, so they can't run any operations. They can't be remote.
None.
They can't do anything. And I agree with you.
They can't. Yeah, no burner accounts. Nothing behind the scenes. No, if you want to cripple the franchise and my new favorite NBA team, then that's how you do it.
And I think they don't have a choice. Now, Adam Silver is kind of pulling a Kathy Engelbert in this.
Hey, color me shocked.
But I still think Adam Silver is still a better operator of being a commissioner than Kathy is.
Oh,
but
1,000%.
But why have we not gotten a legitimate answer? When Pablo Torre finds out, Pablo Torre has more information than your dumbass running than the league. What does that say?
At the rate that we're going, just let Pablo Torre hand down the punishment. Forget the NBA. Let a media member out here who's doing the damn hard work to figure out what the hell's going on give out the suspensions.
Do you remember? Because I think we watched it on a breaking live stream we did.
Yes.
That he said Pablo did an interview with Commissioner Silver, and he taped the paper under the chair, and I think Silver got pissed at Pablo. If Pablo's going to beat you to the punch, he's going to make you look like an idiot. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, and he shamed him. I thought it was hysterical. I thought it was great. I loved it.
And I think him and Amin and David Sampson have been all over this situation. How often do I say I agree with Stephen A. Smith on something?
I agree.
So I think, to be honest, if you really want to cripple the franchise, I think you got to suspend Ballmer for more than a year.
2 years?
Yeah. I think it's got to be 2 years. Now, there would be a controversial issue, though, because he could argue, I'm the one investing in the franchise.
Yeah.
How can you suspend me for 2 years or a year?
Yeah. Suspend him in general. Exactly.
But if you committed the crime, you got to do the time.
Yeah. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Now get out. But
we stole a balloon. Yeah, on free balloon day.
I was paying him money. Oh yeah, on Cap Circumvention Day. That's what it feels like at this point. But my point is, is Adam just going to sit on? If this makes it to next season, the last thing I'll say, if this investigation gets bleeded into next season. Kawhi can't play until there is a answer to everything that is going on.
And that's been the rumor mill, though, Nick, is that there's talk that this might bleed into the early part of 2027.
And that's what I mean. If we get to opening day and there is no solution, Kawhi has to be forced to sit out and not allowed to play. And if I'm Toronto,
I'm staying as far away from him as possible.
If I'm the rest of the NBA, because you know there's going to be
him with a 10-foot pole.
You know there's going to be. You said this, and because you pushed back, and I think you were right in some aspects. There's going to be 2 or 3 stupid teams out there. They're going to say, "Oh, Toronto didn't take him. We'll just take a cheaper deal and we'll bring him in."
Brooklyn.
No, I will tell you right now. I will not jump fandoms, but if he ends up in a Nets uniform, it's over. It's over for me as a Net fan. I will not be a Knicks fan. Let me be very clear about that. I will not pull a Frank the Tank, but my fandom will end. To
become a fan of the Alaska Ball Hogs.
I don't know. Maybe I'd have to find another team. Did I tell you the story that I forgot to tell this story that Zan Bando, I co-host on ETB Sports and like 10 million other shows on this network. I like you, Zan. That's a joke. That we were going to do a bachelor style.
Yes, that's what I first got here about trying to find you a college football team. Yes.
We didn't do it. I think we still should. Zan was saying we should do a bachelor style show to find me a college football team to root for. Hey, that should be a bonus show.
Yes.
That could be a paywall show because that's more of a produced show.
That'd be epic.
By the way, for everyone who's watching, if you want to see a bachelor style show to help me find a college football team to root for, let us know. Yes.
We have a coaching firing in professional soccer.
Okay.
The Chicago Stars of the NWSL have had a disastrous season so far. Have fired head coach Martin Sorgen and assistant coach Anders Jacobson per ESPN. The Stars have had
cleaning up house.
They have had a dismal season right now in the end. I think they're like last place in the table right now in the NWSL.
Okay, so they're cleaning up house.
Yeah, again.
Okay, actually, play that sounder again. We have an update on the moving the sticks situation from the NFL.
We were going to get to in press clippings, but what do we have?
So Ryan Glasspiegel, who writes for FOS now, got a statement from the NFL. NFL media is in the process of rebranding Move the Sticks and revamping its content plan following the acquisition of NFL Network by ESPN. The episode posted on 8/11 was a compilation of team previews from the NFL's YouTube page and not AI generated /hosted. Why air something if it doesn't? Why? Why would you do that? That would be like if I took you and I said, I'm gonna make you host Football Forecast on your own. and let's put it out on the feed and see if people can realize it's not you.
That would be pretty funny, actually.
Like, really? Really, NFL?
Yeah, I don't get it.
That's AI-generated slop.
Yeah, and we literally have gone now from saying, oh, it's Photoshop, to now it's all AI slop.
LinkedIn, I think, actually put a button on there now where you can say something is AI-generated slop, which makes me laugh, by the way.
Yeah. All right, Nick, we'll go to your domain, and that is the world of tennis. But, Nick, yikes, as secondary ticket marketplaces for the upcoming U.S. Open in Flushing Meadows, New York, have plummeted following injury concerns for marquee men's stars of Jannik Sinner and, again, Carlos Alcaraz, who is still battling a bombed wrist, while Sinner appears to have pulled out of the Cincinnati Open as well. Nick, how, though, can major individual sports hedge against ticket market collapses when star power is pulled due to injury news like both of these men?
So you and I started to discuss this a couple days ago. Here's the problem with an individualized sport, not a team sport. The the tennis majors rely on the big names. Always have, always will.
Yes.
And most of the U.S. stars are what they rely on, regardless.
Yes.
But Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are the two biggest men's stars.
Oh, yeah.
On the tennis tour. So they got to figure out how they're going to handle this situation. And I don't know how they handle this situation because, again, values are determined. They start promoting months and months in advance.
Right.
Before injuries or anything can set in. Now, we saw, and I can't remember who the German tennis player we were talking about last night. Oh, Zverev.
Yes.
And he was saying, like, he doesn't like the fact that the Canadian Open and the Cincinnati Open are multiple weeks before the U.S. Open. I think he's right, by the way. And we've seen players like Djokovic and, oh, God, what's her name?
Sabalenka.
Thank you. Sabalenka complaining about the schedule not having enough distance between tournaments to recover. So, I don't know. The prices are atrocious for the U.S. Open to begin with. Think about that drink. Remember I told you the
honeydew, yeah.
The honeydew, which is like $40, I think, just to get. If I'm paying $40 for a drink, you better be wining and dining me in the process for $40.
Would you like some cheese with your wine, sir?
And I've been to the U.S. Open. My dad and I were fortunate enough to through when he was working at Citibank at the time, we got to sit in the box,
right?
Actually, or not skybox. I don't know what they call it at the U.S. Open, but I got to. It was the indoor-outdoor box, which was kind of cool. So like you could go in, you can get food, and then like right outside, you're sitting like right over the court, which is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I jokingly said to my dad, "Thank God I don't have to pay for any of this food." It was one of those what's it called things that they put out at buffets.
Full spread. Yeah, full spread.
No, but the it was like the 12-foot hoagie sandwich that they cut up.
Mm-hmm.
Callan, you would have been in like hog heaven. Like,
oh baby.
Like this was incredible food. Like, but just think about like pricings and all this stuff just to go to these events. Trust me, it was the experience of a lifetime getting to go to the U.S. Open. And what was cool about our tickets through the company, it was open ticket, meaning that we stayed at center court.
Yeah.
I don't think we moved. We could have gone to, we were at Ash, which is center court, but then there was
Louis
Armstrong
Stadium.
And then I think there's another one too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but our ticket was rotating. We were allowed to go wherever we wanted, but we really think I wanted to leave the box. Like that's the best seat in the
got
house.
All the food, got air conditioning, got some good wine.
Yeah, and we could sit out. Well, I was a kid at the time, but I had soda more than I knew what to do with. I had food more than I knew what to do with. The seats were incredible, but it's expensive to go there. So I don't blame people for being pissed. Like if stars are not showing up, but there's no way to avoid the inevitable.
Yeah, you can't avoid injury. You can't avoid stuff like that. And I get the frustration, but it's like, you in a way put all this money down to go to the event, and then the guy you want to watch play is not even playing.
But the problem is you can't control injuries,
of course.
Either. Now, the solo sport versus the team sport, totally different animal.
Totally different.
Because think about the UFC, and Zan and Tom could talk about this better than anything. Look what happened to Kanter at the beginning of the fight. You couldn't predict that was going to happen.
No.
Now, we all think he was injured before he entered the octagon, but there's been whole cards they've told me
have been
before.
wiped out because of injury, yeah.
And they quickly have to like spin their wheels. There was a fight not too long ago, where they were lucky that someone was in Vegas and they had to do what they call a catch weight to get them in the building to pass weight just to get on the card to fight. Otherwise, they would have blown up the entire card.
Right.
So individual sports are much tougher to promote, because if you have injuries last second, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah. All right, Nick, we'll get to some college athletics news, though, involving the LSU Tigers, as the Bayou Bengals have formed a corporate holding entity for their broadcast and media revenues to sell equity directly to private equity firms to raise instant liquid capital for LSU's NIL collectives. Nick, is LSU's playbook of selling future media rights to private equity a brilliant move or a gamble on athletic department autonomy?
Johnny Infantino, anybody? I mean, and why am I saying that? Because this is essentially selling private equity again to a company. Now, my question is, I don't know who their rights holder, what the rights, what networks they're
I would
on.
think it'd be JMI, or it would be Learfield, I think.
But I'm talking about for TV too. I don't know if they're talking about TV, because remember we had a situation with college basketball. Do you remember?
Yes.
Who was that? That was Michigan and Duke?
Yes.
Where they were trying to put their game on Amazon, and ESPN said, no, you're not taking a game away from us. I mean, this is pathetic. Like, everyone is selling private equity to their broadcast stakes. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, there was that, and I think there was the USC Notre Dame story I talked about last Tuesday, and that Zan talked about. That's on a 4-year break, Nick, until 2030, because I think Netflix tried to hijack the game from NBC or from the Big Ten.
People are trying to break deals again. Ooh, what does that sound like? NIL, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, college sports. We're doing it all over again. Once you have a deal with Learfield, JMI, whether a TV for your conference, you should not be allowed to sell private broadcast stakes.
I agree.
What the hell is this? This is like bending the rules, in a sense.
You think, or you know?
I don't know. This is a bad look. Again, have we not learned anything from Gianni Infantino?
No, of course not.
Because Gianni Infantino almost blew up FIFA and UEFA at the same time.
Yeah.
All 212, what are they called again? 212 football associations.
Football associations.
He almost blew up the entire tournament.
Team USA and Canada also released statements in wake of what was being done.
And not that I really want to talk about this topic now, but just like that he got caught for a cheating scandal on top of it. Like, it's amazing to me that people will sell themselves out to gain private equity. It's all about what? Money. So this is a bad look. This is a bad look for LSU. It's a bad look for college football. It's a bad look for college sports. It's a bad look for the NCAA. But the NCAA is corrupt, so are they really going to listen to people like us who understand the logic of this? No.
No, absolutely not. Well, because they have their head buried in the sand when it comes to soccer on this network, as I have already said on numerous occasions. But I mean, now I think we're entering a very much, Nick, about, this is another gamble, I think, on an athletic department. I think putting all the eggs in the basket, though, just to get a few more dollars for NIL for football.
But that's the problem that you and I have said.
Yeah.
We're making all these concessions to build money for NIL. NILs are destroying college sports because there's no regulation. How many times have I said that NILs are like cryptocurrency? There's no regulation for it.
Oh, yeah. And I start my 10th year in D1 athletics here in about 7 hours.
And you told me about the thing in San Diego. Do you remember actually, that was the one that was making a lot of news, wasn't it? The one you told me about?
I'm trying to remember which one it was. Yeah,
the college basketball player, the one that was in the NBA, went back to...
Oh, yeah. Charlie Darlington.
Yeah.
Santa Clara.
Right. And he made news because he accepted an NIL deal coming back from the NBA to college sports. This is such a mess. Like, just stop with the NIL nonsense. It's enough.
Yeah, with that in mind, Nick, we can go beyond the highlights with a personally driven look at the games you love. Join our good man, Zan Bando, for Bando's Breakdowns, airing live every Thursday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch expert analysis and a point of view you won't hear anywhere else. Only here on ETB. Subscribe today at youtube.com/ETB Network. I'm sure, Nick, that Zan will have one hell of a show planned coming up for the upcoming couple days here.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, college news galore. I mean, there's a lot.
UFC 330.
UFC 330. Already previewing NFL, which we didn't get to do because his power decided to go out again.
Another tornado hitting Chicago.
So we're probably going to end up having to do 2 divisional previews coming up on episode 331 of ETB Sports. But yeah, catch his show Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And yeah, go check it out. We have a lot of NFL and college football stuff along the way.
All right, Nick, we'll get to hour 3 a few minutes early here and get to my domain of the National Hockey League, Nick, as 2 new frontrunners have emerged here for potential bids for franchise numbers 33 and 34 for the NHL. That includes Nick, Houston, Texas, and for the 3rd time, Atlanta, Georgia have now become the top 2 frontrunners for the NHL's next expansion push. Push behind billionaires, behind billionaire-backed backing and arena infrastructure in both cities, including Houston and also Atlanta, while the Dallas Stars, Nick, are now have unveiled a rendering of their potential new arena in Plano, Texas, for their potential move out of the American Airlines Center in wake of them and the Mavericks not getting along about the building as stands. But Nick, sadly, given Atlanta's history of losing the Flames and the Thrashers, why is Gary Bettman so eager to jump back into Atlanta over cities like Quebec City, Canada, or other marketplaces like, for example, Kansas City, Missouri, who already have arenas ready to go, though, for a potential push for NHL expansion?
That's basically the answer. I mean, how many times I've asked you this already when we were putting the show together? Atlanta's been an absolute freaking failure the last 2 times when they played for the NHL. What is going to change going to Atlanta a 3rd time that didn't work the first 2 times?
Yeah, I don't like the move. I mean, I know they're trying to do one Western Conference, one Eastern Conference city, but why do we keep ignoring the elephant in the room that is Quebec? They've had an arena ready to go since the Nordiques left, 30 years ago to go to Colorado. And Center Day Videotron has been already holding, preseason games for the Kings and Bruins a couple times in Quebec. They have long wanted the game to come back. I know the big argument's gonna be, well, the Canadian dollar isn't this, and I think, Nick, you might remember when I talked on Cranium about Brady Tkachuk going to Florida from the Ottawa Senators. There's a 53.5% provincial tax on residents in in Canada, at least in that province, over, in Quebec or in Ontario. So I don't understand why we continue to ignore a Canadian marketplace. Now, could that be a thing, though, Nick? Much like we heard, though, about the whole thing with the A's and the Giants, about that the A's could not go to San Jose or go somewhere else because, this is Giants territory. You can't infringe upon the local rights. Could that be a thing, though, Nick, where the Montreal Canadiens, again, 24-time Cup champions, would say, hey, Quebec is our marketplace and our marketplace only. Take a hike, go somewhere else, though. I've heard about Hamilton. I've heard Nova Scotia. But I think that Atlanta, I don't get it, Nick. I know they've got 2 groups right now bidding for the franchise, involving group with TNT analyst Anson Carter with one group, and then Vince Krause, who I think already has gotten the land already approved for an arena project. But of course, Nick, they wouldn't be playing, though, in actual Atlanta. They'd be playing in the suburbs, much like the Braves are now in Cobb County.
All right, so here's the other argument I would make against Atlanta right now. And I said this to you the other night. You have the Braves. You have the Hawks. The Falcons.
College football
with Georgia.
Soccer.
You're probably 5th or 6th on the list.
Much like you were about 25 years ago when you became a franchise.
That was the Thrashers, right?
Yeah, that was the Thrashers.
They wouldn't be the Thrashers again if they came back, would they?
I think they actually have the right still to the to the name and branding. I think it had to be left behind, much like the whole thing with Sonics.
If they were smart, they would brand and start a new thing. I would start something new, try to build something new.
Yeah.
But why are people going to spend money for something that hasn't worked 2 times you've come to Atlanta trying to make it work?
Yeah, I forget exactly what. I'll go back and double check. I know the Flames had a problem when they were playing at the old Omni, which was the arena before they went to then Phillips Arena, now State Farm Arena. And I know the Thrashers did not work because they did not have the right ownership group in place, and that the ticket sales had plummeted, and the team was not very good either, -1 division title run. But I don't like, Nick, that there is a third attempt made. In a way, Nick, let me say this. This would be like the NBA coming back to my hometown for a third time. We've already had the Rockets move out to Houston, and of course the Clippers are now up in Los Angeles. Why bother? Why bother?
I don't know. You're going to be like 5th or 6th banana when it comes to you being back in Atlanta. Also, you're not a major market team. Sorry, just pointing out the facts that I don't think the NHL is going to get fully behind it, knowing that it could be gone in another year or two after it comes back.
So, by the way, to interject, so the Flames went to Calgary before the 80 season due to severe financial losses suffered by the team owner Tom Cousins, due to the economy of the country in the 70s, declining local sales for tickets and TV deals, and a lack of serious local buyers. And a group of Calgary businessmen bought the Flames for $16 million back in 1979, 1980.
I don't know.
So there's
man.
that part of the story. Now let me go and find why the Thrashers ended up going to Winnipeg in 2011. And this is the same exact thing, Nick, that the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg to become the new Winnipeg Jets in May of 2011 because, again, severe financial losses exceeding $130 million. Declining ticket sales and a deep internal dispute within the Atlanta Spirit group that owned the franchise, which allowed True North Sports Entertainment to buy the team and move them to the smallest market in the entire NHL in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Wow. I don't understand why they wouldn't take another team in Canada, though.
I think the only reason why, and again, I would love to see the Nordiques come back in Quebec, but something is just telling me, though, that the Montreal Canadiens would say, no, go screw yourself.
But why is it up to them, though? The NHL should have the choice, unless it's a territorial thing.
It's a territorial thing, much like when the A's couldn't go to San Jose to build Cisco Field back in the early 2000s. Because they called that Giants territory in 2005.
And in my opinion, that killed the Athletics when that deal didn't go
through. They tried to go to Fremont, San Jose, staying in Oakland, whatnot, and what have you.
But what is the saying that I say a lot? What's the definition of insanity?
Same thing over and over and over and over.
Expecting the same result.
Yes.
Or actually expecting a different result. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I would not take the gamble on Atlanta for a third time. I mean, hey, if the NBA won't do that for San Diego, then the NHL should not do that for Atlanta. And no team is going to fucking Boise, Idaho, and they're not going to fucking Arizona either. So shut up, Isaiah.
Well, the whole Arizona experiment didn't work anyway. So
no, it's been 30 years that the team first went there from Winnipeg. So the original Jets went to become the Coyotes in '96,
and that was a complete failure. And besides them not being run well, I just think hot weather cities don't always work for the NHL.
Well, the arena is what killed them in '96.
Agreed, but I'm saying
America West Arena was built for the Suns and the Suns only, and not for hockey.
Right, but I'm saying people can say, "Oh, Florida," but Florida's done a good job of marketing their teams.
They've also sadly won championships, which the Coyotes never did in franchise history.
But Arizona's always been a hotbed for issues with hockey.
Yeah.
Always. So, see that, Isaiah? I actually pay attention to hockey, and I try my best to understand the knowledge of it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, 60 years ago, I think next season, not this year, next season, 60 years ago, 27, 28, the Kings came to L.A. and became a franchise.
Yes.
60 years ago this season, the Gulls became a franchise in San Diego in the WHL. So the name's been around for 6 decades. But again, as I documented, Nick, way back on Small Market Edition about, Anaheim, LA, San Jose, the Stars, Tampa Bay, Florida, all these, Southwest cities, though, Nick, have done it the right way. Even Vegas has done it the right way for 10 years.
That's a fact. I mean, like I said, I don't think Atlanta will work out because the NHL is not learning from the 2 times they were in Atlanta, and they went completely bankrupt in both times, right? So what is going to change? Now, are they going to make the excuse and say, oh, technology is better, we could promote better? That doesn't mean crap.
The right ownership, we're putting it where the hockey fan base is, which was the other big thing about the Coyotes ordeal, that the fan base lived like on the eastern side of the downtown Phoenix metro area, for example.
But how many times have we heard the excuse of, oh, we finally found the right ownership? How many times have we heard that?
Yeah, we've already heard it twice down there. Same again with the NBA here in my hometown.
So I don't buy it. They're going to try and put Atlanta back in. I guarantee you 2 years from now, we're going to be back on this show, and we're going to say that they went bankrupt again, and they're going to have to move out of Atlanta. And it's going to be the end of anything.
Yeah, and by the way, for Houston, I think that they're a slam dunk. They've already got Toyota Center on lockdown. Tillman Fertitta has long wanted another winter tenant to bring revenue in for the Rockets. They've had a great hockey history. Gordie Howe played for the Houston Aeros way back in the day with his kids, which was very cool to see. And the ownership group, Nick, would be led by a once considered Padre ownership candidate, Dan Friedkin, and his son Ryan.
So they got plenty of money to
$6.5 billion.
Right. So they're going to actually put money behind it and try to build it into something.
And I would love to see Houston resurrect the Aeros name too, and that would become a hell of a rivalry already with the Aeros playing the Stars.
It would be. We got some live golf news.
Oh, perfect time because we're going to go to that segment here.
This is from the Sports Business Journal.
Okay.
Live Golf has told players its team championship scheduled for August 27th to August 30th in Detroit is canceled. Fox has also removed the tournament from its listings. I'll give you one better.
Clown show.
Live Golf is a clown show.
Let's see if I can read this story. Oh, it's a short story. Okay. Live Golf has told its players that the league's team championship event scheduled to take place from the 27th to the 30th has been canceled. It has been an open secret for the last few weeks.
Wow.
That the season-ending tournament or season-ending competition in Detroit will not be taking place. James Corrigan of the London Telegraph notes, no infrastructure has been erected. Interesting choice of words.
So that means that they have not maybe built the bleachers around certain holes, perhaps, at the course in Detroit?
It says, at the Cardinal at St. John's, and Fox has removed the tournament from its listings. The cancellation means that next week's tournament in Indiana will be the last of its campaign.
Unless that somehow gets canceled.
This is the second LIV tournament to be canceled in 2026 after a $30 million event in New Orleans was called off in June. But this is a bigger blow for Liv as the team shootout has been billed as the biggest week in the calendar.
Alan Shipnuck, you ready to get a phone call or an email from Nick Morgasen?
Now I want to know more. I want to know if Liv is up in smoke. But wait a minute. Here's what doesn't add up, though.
Is our next topic.
So my mind is kind of blown, but Live Golf landed a major third-party investment capital injection with reports tying the source to a commercial partner linked with Bryson DeChambeau. Does bringing in third-party capital tied to stars like DeChambeau grant Live Golf real commercial viability independent of Saudi's public interest funding? The answer is no. Not after you just canceled your tournament in Detroit, which was billed as your biggest event of the campaign.
Salute.
I tried to hit the mute button. It didn't work.
Can we watch Live Golf real quick?
Because he's a raw pain in the ass.
Enjoy your nap, son.
But this story makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense. And I'm not surprised, though, Nick. And, if they cancel the next tournament, then Liv needs to be put in the grave, honestly.
But it doesn't add up because
it's not adding up, especially if you have rumors revolving around them getting some kind of capital injection from some unknown DeChambeau sponsor or endorser.
There was a report also that came out that apparently Bryson claimed that it has
I don't know anything about this. Man, shut your ass up.
Go take your YouTube money and go disappear forever.
Thank you, Christy.
Please, enough. We all know that it's over, man. And Live Golf is basically heading for the grave at this point. The public interest fund is gonna have to pay off hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know what else to say at this point. And I think it's just in the grave, man. It's
I don't know how to feel, man. It's again, Nick, I'm going to use my easy get out of jail for free card. What always happens, Nick, 9 times out of 10 when there is another league operation that begins to, that starts play to challenge the big bad other league like the AFL and the WHA and the ABA, what usually happens?
You fail a miserable death?
Yes, which, by the way, Nick, this season is now 50 years since your Nets joined the NBA from the ABA merger.
I did know that. Yes.
So again, what happened to the ABA 50 years ago? They blew up.
It'll go straight to your thighs, and then it'll blow up. By the way,
do we have more about this story?
No, this has to do with the Lakers ownership story.
Okay, what do we got?
This is from Dave McMenamin.
Lakers beat writer, I think, for ESPN.
Yes. New Lakers owner Bob Iger told Kobe Price. Now, I don't know who this is. Oh, he's the Lakers reporter for the California Post? Yeah.
Okay.
That Mark Walters' agreement with Jeannie Buss to be the Lakers governor for at least 5 years will remain in place.
So Jeannie will stay on as the Lakers governor for 5 more years, and probably she'll retire.
Will remain in place after Iger and Kushner take over the team when the sale goes through. So however long she has left on that 5 years will continue, which I don't know why anyone would want to keep her. She's a pain in the ass.
So when when that does happen, Nick, Jeannie's going to be 70 or 69, I think, when she does leave office.
I wish she would just leave now. She's basically tanked the franchise into the ground.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually have an episode about the Laker family dynasty that they had for benchmarks that's coming for the next basketball season.
I think that's a good one because
I mean, because that, like I said earlier, Nick, but the Bus family really, really revolutionized professional sports. Jeannie got the job as the GM of the LA Strings of the World Team Tennis when she was 18 years old, and first learning the business. And they had the Lakers and the Kings. I mentioned that they had the LA Blades of Roller Hockey International for 4 years at the Forum. They had indoor soccer. Jeannie helped start the, women, the WOW, which is the Women of Wrestling promotion. They had team tennis. They had indoor soccer. They had, hockey and basketball. Jeannie's been in the sports industry, Nick, and she was practically out of high school, for God's sakes, which just really shows you, again, nepotism or whatever. Like, I get that too, but it's also like, since Jerry passed, that the Lakers have not been the Lakers as we all know them and knew them from.
Right.
Any other updates?
More on this story.
What do we got?
From Front Office Sports. NBA owner class stunned, in quote, by the Lakers sale.
So this obviously came out of left field.
So I have a story here. Wednesday morning's news that Mark Walter had sold the Lakers less than a year after buying a controlling stake in the franchise to Iger and Kushner. Didn't surprise NBA fans. It shocked the sports owner class. It's one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen, said a close source to dozens of sports team owners. Quote, my phone's ringing off the hook with people saying they're stunned, end quote. Another one said, why would you sell a team within a year and especially without an auction? Asked one former NBA governor, especially a premier asset like the Lakers.
Yeah.
And also you have to remember they gutted most of the Laker front office. Usually when you gut the front office, that means you're holding on for the long term.
And guess where Jeannie's brothers are going?
San Diego with the Padres, you said.
The minority ownership of the Padres that will be confirmed on Monday via the vote.
But yeah, obviously then we had the Ramona news that came out. Multiple ownership sources who spoke with Front Office Sports wondered whether a federal investigation into Walter's business practices could be the trigger for the unprecedented sale, which is what you and I had said.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the Dodgers, Walter and his TWG Global Holding Company own stakes in Chelsea FC, the Sparks, and the Professional Women's Hockey League, and several auto racing teams.
Yes.
The investigation was first reported by Bloomberg in July. And Bloomberg also reported Wednesday that TWG Global is trying to raise money from investors. Oh, I didn't tell you this. This is the new thing. TWG Global is trying to raise money from investors to help pay down loans tied to its insurance business. So now we know there's a problem.
I knew it.
The same operations that have drawn the Justice Department's attention.
Now sell the Dodgers.
Walter gave no explanation for the sale in a statement provided to ESPN. He did say, owning the Lakers has been one of the great honors of my life. You've only had it for what, a year?
14 months, buddy.
An extraordinary investment, but what I will carry with me is the community, the fans, and a city that treats this team like a family. Dude, you're acting like you've been there for 20 years.
Clown show, clown show, clown show, clown show.
This is where I think it's BS. I'm grateful the Jeannie Bus, the Bus family, the players, and the staff are welcoming me into this chapter. The Lakers belong to Los Angeles, and I have every confidence the best is still ahead. Really?
No.
So you and I knew it right away that something was up.
Insurance.
Well, insurance fraud.
Yeah, insurance fraud.
But this might be good that he's no longer the owner of the Lakers. Because I don't think the NBA, unlike the WNBA, the NBA actually cares about their PR.
Yeah.
So who knows if the NBA was involved?
I don't know.
A lot of stories are dropping within the last hour saying that, like, the federal probe is the reason why he sold.
We'll have to probably keep an eye on that as the day goes on, Nick. We'll move on now to some more media beef involving ESPN colleagues, as Stephen A. Smith and Michael Rolbon have sparred back and forth over the past couple of days after Rolbon, the legendary host of PTI, called said that Stephen A. Smith is not a journalist anymore, leading to an aggressive pushback from Mr. Smith, as we all probably had seen, after Rolbon called him out for moving away from regular sports journalism to more shot jock style hosting. Nick, is Mike Rolbon's critique an accurate assessment of studio media evolution like Stephen A. Smith, or is it traditional gatekeeping against modern sports moguls that have moved over to digital platforms like Stephen A. has recently?
Oh no, it's 1,000% an accurate assessment of studio media evolution. I mean, look at what Stephen A. has become. It's hot takes. It's being on First Take. It's doing his radio show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. It's doing a political show on POTUS channel, doing videos for his own production, screaming and yelling, having his opinions. He's not a journalist anymore. He's an entertainer trying to be a journalist at this point in time. Wilbon is one of the more respected guys in our industry. Michael Wilbon has been doing PTI for how long now? 20 plus years?
20 plus years.
Him and Tony are journalism personified out of the Washington Post, I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Stephen A. is not a journalist anymore. He's all about the entertainment. He's all about, yes, he's become a brand, but it's not because of accuracy and facts. It's all about entertainment and how much I can scream over the next person and what connections I have to build my brand. So Wilbon is right.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you have all these sound bites from Stephen A. right here inside the
because he's a
soundboard like
raw
this.
pain in the ass.
Or
Was on crack. I am having a very bad day. Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Stay off the weed. Duh.
That's all he's known for. He's known for viral moments, GIFs, and sound effects. No one, do you think of Stephen A. anymore as a journalist? I don't.
No, not at all.
And I love the fact, and I laugh at this all the time, that he throws his journalism credentials in your face when you go after him.
I wrote for the Philadelphia Inquirer.
And I also wrote for the Daily News, and I wrote for all these papers. I was in the locker room. Dude, you're not in the locker rooms anymore. Stop.
Yeah, no.
You're not a journalist anymore. You're a hack. You all you care about is entertainment and politics. And by the way, ESPN has rules that you're really not supposed to be doing politics while covering sports. People got fired for doing that. Or you had people like Sage Steele who basically had to walk away.
Say that, or look at Jamel Hill.
Yeah, but Jamel Hill did a no-no big time, which was basically just saying Trump did this and Trump did that, and ESPN didn't want that PR headache. Now, is she right? I don't know. But you can't mix them together. This is not Shut Up and Dribble with Laura Ingraham. But I think Wilbon is right. Is there anything to the contrary you could really say that Wilbon said?
No.
And I think even Mike says, I wish I could still be writing today. I saw it in the awful announcing interview he did.
Yeah.
But he said, because of the industry, he says, it's a muscle you don't flex anymore that he did for many decades.
Right.
We're a podcast digital related industry now. All the writing jobs are going away because these sites can't afford to pay people to get the proper revenue they need anymore. So, and Stephen A. got pissed off and he had him on and ripped him a new one. Yeah, because that's real appropriate, Stephen A.
Yeah, I mean, really, come on now. Taking a pot shot at your colleague because of them calling you out. I get you have to respond, and, it's the whole straight shooter show with Stephen A. Smith. What, dude? Stop, please.
You're not a straight shooter. You're an entertainment brand.
Yeah, as Christy said, that it's more about the brand and less about doing the actual work and actually doing it the right way.
Because if you yell and scream, you'll get those TikTok and Instagram views you want so bad.
Yeah, which doesn't sell and doesn't win you games.
Exactly.
Well, Nick, we'll move ahead here to all things in college athletics, again involving Kirk Herbstreit, legendary former Ohio State quarterback. Kirk Herbstreit claimed that the Big Ten collectives are more strategically organized for corporate NIL models than the almighty SEC. Nick, are Big Ten programs outmaneuvering the SEC in corporate NIL infrastructure, or is this just preseason narrative spinning from a former Big Ten alum like Herbstreit is?
Oh, no, I think he's 100% right. I think that, remember what I said before the NILs, who was considered the biggest conference in college football? It was the SEC.
Yes.
Because when there's no money involved, everybody wants to go to the SEC. It's the big powerhouse. It's the quickest road to the NFL. Now with NILs, the SEC is not the big, bad, dominant conference anymore. So now that you have money, now that you have NILs, Big Ten schools can decide they want to overpay for an athlete that they're going to steal away from the SEC. It used to be hands down that if an SEC school went after somebody, it was automatic. You didn't pass up on the opportunity to go to an SEC school years ago because you knew that was a meal ticket to the NFL as soon as you went to an SEC school, as long as you were a decent top flight prospect. But with money, you could do anything you want. So I think Kirk is right, saying that the Big Ten is more invested in the NIL because they're looking to beat the SEC to a pulp, which they couldn't do all these years.
And now they can, and I think they've won the last 3 or 4 consecutive CFP championships, too.
And they have an NBA, or not an NBA, an NCAA college basketball title, too, right?
Michigan this past year.
So it must be doing something, right? Now, you've heard me say this a million times. DiMartino is going to go off on a million tangents about the SEC this year still being the power conference. If they're the power conference, why has the Big Ten won the last 3 national titles?
I mean, call, maybe the pot calling the kettle black, but who would have thunk, though, Nick, that all it would take was NIL and the portal to all of a sudden make some sort of parity across college football where you don't have one conference, owning everybody else.
And that's the thing. If I had to make one argument for the NILs,
parity.
Thank you. Parity. It evens out the opportunity metric to say, all right, these schools have money. Now they're even. Now I just have to pick a school I want to go to. At this rate, I don't have to sacrifice a Big Ten school to go to an SEC school. Now, people are still going to say to the cows come home that the SEC is the biggest brand. Of course, SEC will always be the biggest brand. We're not naive from that standpoint. Yeah. But the Big Ten is gaining on your ass big time. And I would say winning 3 titles in the last 3 years, you have to respect the Big Ten. If you disrespect the Big Ten, that's on you. You don't understand college football at that point. Zan has told me he's in Big Ten country in Illinois. Look at Indiana, too. Indiana's huge with Kurt Cignetti.
Yeah.
He had every NFL opportunity in the book if he wanted to go be an NFL coach. He said, no, I'm staying here. I almost said franchise because that's what they're treated like at this point. But the Big Ten is here to stay.
Yeah. I'm just counting a few. I'm just doing some quick math, but go on.
Kirk knows this sport better than most when it comes to calling the games. He played college football. He was on the Dan Patrick Show, and Herbstreit argued that Big Ten teams are more invested and appear to have a stronger competitive spirit than their counterparts down south. Herbstreit pointed to the Big Ten's head-to-head advantage over the SEC, as well as its ability to keep players motivated and retain them in the NIL era. First of all, anyone could motivate anybody with NIL money. I don't think that's the argument.
So also, Nick, I was right. The last 3 natties have been won by the Big Ten. Michigan in 23, Ohio State in 24, Indiana in 25. All time, the SEC still has 6 wins to 4 losses, while the Big Ten is 4-1 The ACC is 2-3. The Pac-12 is 0-2. The Big 12 is 0-1, and also Notre Dame is 0-1.
That's more of the story. Because again, how does I don't know if Notre Dame can really use NIL money because they're not in a conference.
I know that Army and Navy can't because they are military schools, and that you have
That's
to fulfill
government.
You have to fulfill the 4-year requirement to go and serve your country, so they don't offer NIL to Army or Navy. I would think that Notre Dame would be allowed to offer some kind of NIL because even though that football's independent, Nick, they are in the ACC for everything else but football.
But they wouldn't get the benefit for
Right.
football, though, because they're independent. So I think that's a slight disadvantage for Notre Dame because they don't have money that they get from the stupid private equity or like the Redbird Capitals of the world that are putting all this money in, or like the LSU private equity shares that they're trying to create. I mean, I don't know. I think he's right. I think Big Ten is starting to become the dominant conference.
I also looked up, Nick, real quick, that the NIL collective for Notre Dame is called Rally. That is the name of the NIL collective for the Fighting Irish, is ND Rally.
Interesting. All right, moving on. Let's talk about NFL Network and some blackout deals here. So Comcast and Disney resolved their carriage renewal dispute, restoring NFL Network and Disney-owned properties ahead of the regular season kickoff. Did Comcast or Disney gain the ultimate leverage in setting future streaming bundle terms coming out of this dispute? Now, when you look at the NFL, everyone wants the NFL. This is not even an argument of money or coverage or affiliates or anything you really want to say. But Comcast knows as well as any other of the carriage providers that they have to have NFL coverage. They can't go without it. That's a lot of money to some people. And what they need to figure out is how the coverage was going to be. And they're not going to risk Comcast customers saying, screw this, you don't have the NFL Network, which is now a full ESPN NFL Network partnership, obviously because ESPN took over NFL Network properties. They needed to figure this situation out. And it would have cost them a shitload of money if they didn't get this situation under control. And the NFL is king, as they say, when it comes to ratings, when it comes to distribution, when it comes to ad revenue dollars. It's a big deal. And I'm just trying to look up just because I want to make sure I get the numbers and the carriage stuff correct. But I know you don't like hearing this. This is a DMart staple, which I can't stand either. But the NFL is king, and it needs distribution, and blah, 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 blah. I get it. And I understand why people say it, too. But they would have found other sports if they really needed to. But this gave them NFL Network. It gave them NFL Red Zone. Returning to Xfinity. Yes.
More NBA games are leaking out for the season.
All right. Hold that thought because I want to do that as a whole, as a topic. But
yeah, because that's coming up here in a bit.
So, I mean, this makes sense. Comcast doesn't want to lose customers for NFL.
All I'll say about this is Mr. Anti-NFL is why is it though, Nick, every single time that this time of the year rolls around that there's some dispute involving Disney or involving football in some way with a cable provider every August or every September?
Well, this is just corporate greed, as you and I talk about all the time. I would insert other company name here. It could have been Fox. It could have been CBS.
DirecTV.
Right. I'm saying it could have been networks. Insert network, insert distribution here. It doesn't matter. This is the NFL being a corporately greedy partner, or as I like to say all the time, a greedy pig when it comes to money. Think about their bottom line. They're somewhere between 17 and 18 billion dollars at the bottom line. You don't think they're trying to push from 17, 18 billion to like 21, 22 billion at the bottom line? They're going to do anything in their power to make that money number go up, to make that cash register get hit millions of more times. Now, they might rub people the wrong way, which is what they do a lot, but they're going to make more money in the long run because the NFL is the NFL and they control everything here. Simple as that.
Yeah. I think it's funny that every time that football season rolls around, that there's some cable company out there, Comcast or DirecTV, who always is bickering with the NFL and college football about rights and carriage deals.
So it's interesting you say that because I think it was Fox. I think it was Murdoch's son who's now running the company. He came out and he basically said, screw off to the NFL. They're not redoing their contract because the NFL was trying to redo all their contracts like 2 years before they were even up. Because why do you think the NFL wants more money? So basically what ended up happening, because Murdoch and his son essentially said, we're not doing it. Now you have all the other companies that are saying, screw off. We're not making they did it. So we're following suit and we're not going to rip our deals up.
Mm-hmm.
Which, bravo. Stop giving more money to the NFL. It's because then it trickles down to the fan that wants to watch these games. The channels are going to become more money as part of the cable package or part of YouTube TV or any other distribution package you have. So these companies need to fight the corporate greedy NFL to stop looking for more money when they already make billions.
And as a disclaimer, Nick sat through the YouTube TV Disney blackout last season in early September for 4 days.
Oh, yeah. That was annoying. I couldn't watch NBA games. I couldn't watch college football, which I don't watch as much, but I try to. All because the two sides, what is that dumb saying? It's billionaires versus millionaires.
Yep.
Like we say Major League Baseball all the time. But that was billionaires versus billionaires.
Yes.
And they're all babies, and they can't just play nice in the sandbox, as you would say.
Yeah. What else is new?
All right. What's next?
All right, Nick, because we had breaking news about the NBA, but of course, the NBA took a page out of the NFL's playbook with a 3-day rollout across ABC and ESPN to unveil the upcoming schedule for the season, turning regular calendar drops into TV inventory. Of course, that was marred yesterday by the opening night slate and the first couple of games of the season, and also Christmas Day. Tuesday marked the entire NBA Cup tournament schedule, and also, Nick, just now breaking across the newswire is the President's Day weekend and MLK Day that is coming up in January. So we have that scheduled, by the way, Nick. So for MLK Day, it's a quadruple header.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah.
So at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
So noon Eastern. Okay.
Detroit at Cleveland.
Not great, but okay.
And I believe that game will be on Peacock, much like the first game was last season. Because at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 Eastern,
right,
the Hawks will host the MLK home game versus the Philadelphia 76ers.
So the Sixers are basically going to be part of every freaking opening day, Christmas, holiday. Great.
Then at 2 o'clock Eastern, or 2 o'clock Pacific, I should say, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Minnesota will take on the New York Knickerbockers.
I mean, that's the best game so far.
And then for the nightcap at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, the San Diego Rockets of Houston will take on the Memphis Grizzlies.
These are all terrible games, except for the Knicks Timberwolves. That's the best game of the entire quadruple header.
Then on President's Day, on February 15th, it is another quadruple header.
Oy. Okay.
So again, at 9 a.m. Pacific time,
okay,
the Timberwolves will take on the Charlotte Hornets.
Terrible.
LaMelo's return back to Charlotte.
Terrible.
That game will be on NBC Peacock. Then at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, the Philadelphia 76ers will take on the Dallas Mavericks.
It's not terrible.
Potentially LeBron versus Kyrie if Kyrie is healthy.
Yeah, it's not terrible. That's better.
Then at 2 p.m. Pacific time, the San Antonio Spurs will take on the Miami Heat. Wemby versus Giannis if they're both healthy.
I mean, it's a decent game, but the Spurs should win it.
And then the last game of the night at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, only on Peacock. The Indiana Pacers will take on the Golden State Warriors.
No. That's why it's on Peacock.
And then the entire NBA Cup schedule came out today, too. We're not going to go group by group, but that also came out on Tuesday.
I saw some of it. Some of them are actually not bad, the groupings.
Oh, the Clippers are in a very much black and blue group for the Callan McClurg tournament.
But they screwed up both President's Day and MLK Day with the games. They obviously have to put the Hawks on MLK Day because that's part of the tradition in Atlanta.
They're always at home. Yes, they're always at home.
But they were obsessed with
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, like that, they're going to be the new Lakers or the. Jesus Christ, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't think they did a good job of scheduling. That's just my thought.
Yeah, for those that are wondering, by the way, I'll just read off the groups for the Emirates NBA Cuppers. I like to make the joke it's the Callan McClurg Memorial in-season tournament because I'm the only one on this network who likes the format and like the tournament. Out west in Group A, Nuggets, Rockets, Suns, Mavericks, Jazz. Group B is OKC, Minnesota, the Clippers, the Pelicans, and Grizzlies, while Group C is the Spurs, Lakers, Blazers, Warriors, and Kings. Out east in Group A, Detroit, Toronto, Orlando, Milwaukee, and Knicks' beloved Brooklyn Nets. Group B will feature the Knicks, Cavs, Sixers, Heat, and Pacers, while Group C will be the Celtics, Hawks, Hornets, Bulls, and Wizards, with that tournament tipping off on October 30th. And by the way, the title game for the tournament, Hinkle Fieldhouse at Butler University.
I did hear that.
It will not be played in Vegas this year for the first time in history.
I wonder why.
They're trying other venues for the event. And, of course, Hinkle Fieldhouse has been known for Hoosiers.
Interesting.
Hickory High.
Right.
Even then, though, do you need to have 3 days to unveil your schedule? I mean, you're not making potato salad here. It should not take you 3 days.
Way to go, buddy. It took us 3 days to make that potato salad. 3 days!
Terrible. I mean, all you have to do is do what the NHL does. You drop everyone's home opener the day before, then you drop the whole schedule the following day. It's not that hard.
Well, no, they had to go on Good Morning America to get the release with Malika Andrews. Then they had to do all this other releasing bull crap, which no one cares about. Just give me the full schedule and call it a day.
Yeah, I would like to start planning to go back to Intuit Dome like now, not tomorrow, like now.
Oh, maybe I'll try to go to Barclays Center for a game. Try.
Yeah, the keyword is try.
It's much easier to go to MSG.
Really?
It's right above Penn Station.
No.
Literally, you get up, you walk upstairs, you're right there.
Well, how far is Brooklyn from your residency out there on the island?
You first have to go you got to get to Penn Station, then you got to make your way to Brooklyn.
And how far is that? I'm not a New Yorker, sir.
Yeah, it probably adds another 35, 40 minutes, probably. I would say.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up.
I'm looking it up right now, but keep blabbering about how much the NBA effed this up.
They did F this up. The schedule's so bad. Like not one schedule of Celtics Sixers. Really? Like what the hell?
Okay, so via public transit, Mr. Morgasen, an hour and 34-minute commute via public transit to go from Plainview to Brooklyn.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That's on the N78 and 2 different LIRRs.
Yeah, no, thank you. Now, they did add that you could go directly to Brooklyn now from LIRR. So technically you could ride all the way to Brooklyn, but it's going to take like an hour and 15, hour 20 minutes just to...
It's almost like me going from here to Anaheim for Ducks games or Angel games.
Which is not worth the headache, in my opinion.
My headache's fine because you get to go by the beach and you get to drink beer.
Well, yeah, that's a different story.
All right, Nick, some very much despicable news in the world of radio in the Bay Area as Cumulus Media has laid off Bay Area great Greg Papa from KNBR due to both corporate budget cuts, but also Greg releasing that he has been battling cancer. Nick, what does Papa's abrupt exit reveal about the state of traditional terrestrial sports radio finances? But also, again, Nick, another blow for KNBR, who's already had a massive, massive PR nightmare this entire baseball season involving the Giants and of course, the Pride Night fiasco back in June.
This is a bad look. Now, this is not a Giants issue. Let's be very clear about it. They are just the home station for the San Francisco Giants.
Greg Papa was doing talk radio and doing the Niners.
Right. He was doing the Niners play-by-play. So they're the home of the Niners, the Giants, and I think the San Jose Sharks, I think.
Yes.
So
unless the Sharks moved to a digital platform like TuneIn, I think they did.
I thought they were still on KNBR.
I think they were only writing those AI-generated recaps for the Sharks.
Looking this up.
I am too. Go on.
But here's the problem with this. I understand there's corporate layoffs.
The Sharks are on their own audio platform. They're not on regular radio.
Color me shocked.
Just like the Ducks.
Quack. Anyway. But I understand. You and I have talked about layoffs from many networks, from ESPN to Fox to NBC to CBS. We've talked about radio before on here. Cumulus Media is a complete shit show of a company. And Nick, how do you know that? Because WABC used to be owned by Cumulus Media. I've seen the wreckage that has gone on the inside of Cumulus. The CEO used to have had an office inside our station in New York, where we housed 4 stations at the same time on the floor there. Terrible CEO. Mary Berner is a terrible CEO of Cumulus. She made like $30 million. The company is bankrupt. They've had to file for bankruptcy protection multiple times. They ran WABC into the ground. I told Callan last night, we were an 0.1 rating in the rating book. That's essentially death.
Yeah.
Until Red Apple Media came by and privately bought it. But Cumulus is basically dead. They are dead on arrival. They are not going to survive. But iHeartRadio, you and I have said this, has been practicing bankruptcy for 10 years. Same thing with Cumulus. They've been practicing bankruptcy for 10 years. The whole radio industry has been practicing bankruptcy for years.
Yes.
But people forget that there's a human aspect to this industry. And Greg Papa's been around in this industry for decades. 40-something plus years in this industry. Calling the Niners games for radio.
Did the Raiders for a long time. Did the Giants for a long time.
Right. I think Greg Papa did TV for a bit too. He was doing talk radio. I think he was doing the midday show from noon to 3 Eastern out on KNBR, and I forgot who his partner was. I think they both got fired.
It was Papa and Silver.
I think they both got fired, right?
I think they did, yeah.
And they brought back John Lund, who was fired years in the past. And he's on that stupid Westwood One Sports thing, doing like weekends and overnight crap. They're giving him the midday show. Here's the problem, though. This is not your typical corporate layoff bullshit or whatever. Greg Papa's essentially been on leave.
Yeah.
Because he has cancer. I think he has
Yes.
bladder cancer, I think.
Correct.
And the man can barely move. I don't think he's in hospice or anything.
No,
but
he's not.
But it's a terrible situation currently. And I don't think he's ever going to work again, to be honest with you.
No, and I don't want KMBR telling me they're going to try to revive his voice somehow with whatever that is. Stop.
I mean,
you don't say that while someone's on their deathbed, for God's sakes.
Do we have that statement? Can we find it?
Yeah, we got some time. I do have a hard out at 2:00 though, but we got some time.
Oh, I think I found the statement. Let me see. Here it is. For decades, Greg Papa has been one of the defining voices of Bay Area sports radio. His knowledge, passion, and connection with his listeners helped shape KMBR into what it is today, and his contributions to the station will not be forgotten. Oh, they won't be forgotten? Let's kick your ass out while you're dealing with cancer. We're not able to comment on the specifics of his departure. Oh, really? Why not? Why not? But we want to be clear about this. Our respect and gratitude for everything Greg has given to KMBR, its listeners, and its team runs deep. We are continuing to explore ways we can bring his voice back to the station.
Yeah, see, I don't like that right there.
And we wish Greg strength, healing, and a full recovery. Really, guys? Really? So you're kicking him while he's down. He's dealing with cancer. He might not survive. In a sad way, might not survive. And you're wishing him strength and healing and a full recovery as you're firing his ass out of the station? That's your answer to this? That's your answer? Really? It's such a pathetic way for the radio business to really handle this situation. And it's depressing the way this industry has become. Radio is not what it once was. What happened?
There we go.
It's depressing the way this industry has become. It's depressing. The guy is a staple in the industry, and this is how you treat it? This is a mockery to this profession.
Yeah.
And KMBR to say, his contributions to the station will not be forgotten. Then why are you firing him?
Why are you firing him? Like, what are you guys doing around here, for heaven's sakes?
I don't know if it would have been made any better by saying due to his health complications that maybe he should step away. That might have been a better way of handling it.
Something.
Because at least if you say it's due to the health complications, then people in the industry might understand a little bit better.
Something.
Now, was he going to continue working? The answer was probably no.
Right.
But this is, again, ironically, PR. Again, PR and relations not handling this correctly. What are we doing here? And you bring back someone that you laid off or fired years ago. Do better.
Exactly. All right, Nick, we have to get through press clippings here. Again, I have to be out of here at a decent time to start getting ready for work this evening. Nick, Warner Brothers Discovery reported a 11% Q2 revenue drop and a 91% collapse in net income, down to $149 million following the loss of NBA media rights. Nick, will or can WBD survive independently following a 91% drop in net income, or are they heading towards an immediate corporate sale, as we have already been discussing here on PR?
They're waiting for the sale to go through with Paramount. That's the biggest thing that they're waiting for. And I think that's the thing they got to figure out. I don't know, man. It's TNT. Well, it's not TNT. It's Warner Brothers Discovery made the big mistake of saying, "Oh, we don't need the NBA anymore."
Thanks a lot, David Zaslav.
Still not fired, by the way. Still not fired. Big mistake.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Nick, with the Phillies and Twins getting ready to play from the Field of Dreams set in Dyersville, Iowa, demand on secondary ticket prices and premium travel packages on location is driving entry-level seats past $600, and average asking price is now nearly $1,000. The factor of the Dyersville route or venue continues to command Super Bowl tier pricing despite limited seating capacity for the game. High travel fan bases like the Phillies drive up secondary market thresholds, locking out most local or casual fans. Nick, is $1,000 worth it in a cornfield for 9 innings of baseball, or as baseball, like every other sport, priced out the exact nostalgia that built the event in the first place?
I don't know if this is necessarily a price out. They're treating this as a corporate event because it's a Field of Dreams game. So I don't know if it's necessarily pricing them out. I think it's just that they're overcharging for what they're calling a magnified event where we have Kevin Costner and we're going to do a Field of Dreams game. They're going to walk out through the cornfields and blah, 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 blah. So I don't think it's that it's necessarily that it's a lot of money. I think they're just overcharging because it's a corporate event, plain and simple.
And even worse, that it's at it's on Netflix too, which doesn't help the cause.
Which means no one's going to see it anyway.
Nick, following the outrage and the calls for Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White to be fired after a flagrant foul involving DiJonai Carrington and Sophie Cunningham, ESPN's basketball analyst Andrea Carter had pushed back on what she called disingenuous bad faith commentators and fans during Tuesday's WNBA Countdown show on ESPN. Andrea highlighted how routine basketball fouls are routinely weaponized in non-sports culture war outraged by people who don't actually watch basketball. She also called out fans using routine WNBA game events as leverage for online agendas rather than actual basketball analysis. Nick, how many full Fever games have these outraged hot take artists actually watched from start to finish? I say 0.
I think it's all fear-mongering, like I said before. Like, they're just trying to get their message out. They don't care if they're right or wrong. They're just looking to get their opinions out. Gee, doesn't that remind you of someone who likes TikTok views and Instagram views? I mean, It's not about right or wrong anymore at this point. It's whoever can get their hot take out first. They can get their views and their clicks and their clickbaits out. They don't care if they're right. They're not going to do the proper research and the proper wherewithal to make sure everything is done correctly. Now, even though the WNBA has been volatile in a lot of ways when it comes to politicking and all this stuff, you still have to do your due diligences to make sure you're accurate, not just throw something out there for the sake of the views.
Take notes, Leon. And finally, though, Nick, on to In the Winkleverse. Longtime former radio host Bart Winkler took aim at ESPN's relentless promotion and also integration of the WWE across flagship programming on ESPN like First Take and Get Up, arguing that forcing pro wrestling on non-fans creates resentment rather than growth, saying in part, if you don't like it, more exposure will not help. Bart said that blending scripted entertainment with legitimate sports coverage risks alienating fans looking for actual news breaks. For example, cutting away from the NBA trade news to worry about CM Punk. Legacy discussions treating scripted storylines with the same seriousness as real-world athletic accomplishments feels forced in Bart's mind. Nick, does ESPN need to treat WWE like actual sports news, or is forcing wrestling debates around during peak morning TV drive traditional sports fans away from the morning talk shows when they are, in fact, advertising WWE content on their platforms?
I think he's 100% right. I don't think you can treat this as regular sports news. It's never meant to be regular sports news. I think on SportsCenter, like having them be on SportsCenter, maybe an occasional appearance on First Take, because I think that's the best place if you're just looking for entertainment.
I'll actually say all I like about the WWE being on ESPN, give them the highlight package on SportsCenter, and that is it.
Yeah, I'm with you. They did announce that they are going to continue to simulcast the first hour of the PLEs.
Good.
Even without, what did they say, SummerSlam or whatever they said they were removing or whatever. But I think that making it part of the sports news is not the right direction, because it sounds kind of stupid sometimes when they bring them in and they're like treating the WWE like it's an everyday news cycle thing when really it's not. They build the storylines up from like Wednesday to Thursday. They go through the weekend, and then that event is over. You move on to the next storyline.
Yeah, then it all starts again on Monday Night Raw.
So it's not meant to be part of the 24/7 sports cycle. It never was.
No, I mean, imagine this happening 30 years ago, though, at the height of the Attitude Era. Holy cow, that would have been something.
Yeah. But that'll do it for the show. Catch the football forecast every Friday during the NFL season, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure you tune in. Johnny Montalbano and the crew. We are getting closer to the NFL season. NFL programming is coming back. It's not just football forecast. It's football night on the bench and everything else we're doing. College football programming coming back as well. As I said, Forever Power 5 After Hours, Gridiron Gridlock with Trevor Williams. All our programming is continuing to make its way back. But please make sure you tune into the football forecast every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, to get all our picks. And it's not your normal X's and O's for NFL Live. We get to have fun and we get to do things our own way. But that'll do it for the show. Thank you to everybody, to almost 230 plus people in today. Thank you to everybody.
A very consistent fan base today. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Also, I was watching our YouTube numbers very high today. We were on the ball the last couple of days. I'm hoping by tomorrow we will have an announcement of 3,000 watch hours.
Hopefully it comes later in the evening, hopefully, when I get back from the job site.
I mean, I won't know until tomorrow because of the YouTube update, but it's been an incredible journey. The 3,000 watch hours goal was a good one. And thank you to everybody that joined. Next show, August 19th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We're going to try and effort some people from the WNBA side of things so we can bring you on the inside of everything that's going on with the fever.
And hopefully we'll have more about the Lakers sale news, too. I know that broke during the show or early this morning on Tuesday, but we'll do our best to finagle some more news about that story, too.
But make sure you follow everything we're doing on social media at Press Row ETB, across all social media platforms, Twitter and Instagram at Press Row ETB. Follow the network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Go over to our YouTube channel. If you're watching over there, thank you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, and hit the notification bell to find out everything that we are doing. But yeah, I think that's it for the show. Any last words before we do a send-off here?
No, great show. Very great to try to unpack all this WNBA BS and stuff and whatnot, but we'll do it all over again next week.
I think we're finally past at this point. We're going to move on to the next parts of the news cycle for everything that's going on. But for Callan McClurg, I'm Nick Morgasen. Have a good day, everybody. We will see you next week.